Go ahead, threaten me like you have the American people for so long. You're part of a dying breed, Habsburg, like people who can name all 50 states. Oh, the truth hurts, doesn't it, Habsburg? Oh, sure, maybe not as much as landing on a bicycle with the seat missing, but it hurts. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Fluffenhammer. I'm not in this episode. Roll the music!
Every man lives, not every man truly dies.
Excellent. Hey, hello guys. Hello and welcome to a slightly diminished form of the Fluffenhammer. As you can see, there's only two of us here this evening. We are missing Big Daddy Gruff. Unfortunately, he's busy right now. But you've got me here, George, as per usual, and my friend over there, my very, very decayed friend over there, Andy.
Hello.
How you doing, Andy, man? You okay?
Same as usual. Just trucking along.
Excellent. I've been following some of your hobbying lately. It's you're really wow, so much stuff going on at the moment.
Ah, thank you. Yeah, I haven't done anything since the tanks. Been trying to clean up the mess because I've been doing it in the living room, so there's just like piles of bits and paintbrushes and things, and I need a vacuum now. I've moved everything back into the hobby room. It just needs to now all be tidied up. From using powder, from using paint pigments being scattered all over the floor to like breaking up bits of cork and the bits of cork going everywhere.
Yeah,
you know.
I know the feeling. Actually, where I'm recording now in my little maisonette where I live at the moment, there's hobby shit everywhere. I just haven't bothered to put it away after I move back in. If I'm really honest, that's the thing. I've been sort of like, I've got a hobby space to do it, but it's all up there. It's upstairs,
right?
And I can't be asked, quite frankly, to move it all up there.
My hobby space is not desperately comfy because I have a chair which came from my grandparents' place, so it's got like a straight hard wooden back. It's like an old antique kind of chair, and it's got a velvet seat, which isn't very comfortable. So it's not a pleasant workspace, and I have to hunch over to use it. I'm like, I'll just do it in the living room because then I can have a podcast on or something in my relatively somewhat comfortable couch. It's not a super comfy couch, but it's fine.
Yeah, where I'm sitting now, this is where I've done the vast majority of my hobbying lately. And you can tell my lovely wooden coffee table here it looks terrible. It's got bits of green stuff, it's got bits of glue,
oh, no.
It's got scratches and marks. I'm not the kind of guy who gives a shit about that though, so well,
that's okay.
I actually don't care.
So you actually do. See, I have like a what do you call it? A lap tray? Is that what you call it? A little beanbag thing. I have a lap tray, so that makes it a little bit easier. I don't need to put it on my because in front of me on my couch, I've got my computer desk. So I don't really want to get. I don't want to pour like any kind of chemicals over there in case everything explodes. So
that would be bad, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I've got a little tray, a little worn down tray covered in like you say, scratches, goo, and all that kind of stuff. When was the last time you hobbied then? What was the last thing you worked on?
Well, I had a brief hiatus because the latter end of 2023 was really and the front end of 2024 has been kind of as well. But I have picked it up again. I've been doing little bits of poxwalkers for my Death Guard. I've done a couple of them. I've putting the worms in them and whatnot because that's the motif.
Oh balls! I need to sell you my Nurgle stuff.
Yes,
still, don't I?
yes, that's right. We've got to get that sorted. Absolutely. Yes. My Death Guard are one of my favorite projects at the moment. I've got to say, since you sold me all that stuff the last time, love them. Absolutely love them. It's one of the most interesting miniatures ranges they've come out with, and they're just so much fun to have in hand. So much fun to have in hand.
I've heard, but I don't know how true this is, that the 10th edition Death Guard, the way that they play now, is a lot more aggressive than they used to be. What do you think of that? Because that's very against how how I would think they should be playing.
Actually, I wouldn't say necessarily that it's aggressive. They are really interesting. They're too slow to be too aggressive. What they do is grind the enemy down.
Right.
over time, which actually is exactly how they should play.
Hmm.
They had troubles early on in 10th. In fact, they were kind of rock bottom at the beginning of 10th. But since they've rejigged them and they've introduced this rule whereby you select, they have their -1 toughness aura, which is universal. That's just part, regardless of what detachment you have or whatever, that's just part of the Death Guard. That's
Right.
their army special rule. Um, but they also have this ability where you select from a list, I think it's 3 other diseases. So at the beginning of the game, you select one, and that's your disease for the game. And it's stuff like one of them is it inflicts -1 armor save on the
Hmm.
enemy, which is really good. That's really good against like Space Marines and Adeptus Custodes and Grey Knights and stuff
Mm.
like that,
Yeah.
obviously. One of them is -1 to hit and -1 ballistic skill, I think it is as well, or something like that. I can't quite remember off the top of my head, but they're all very, very good, and it has put them back up again, you know? They
Hmm.
work much better than they did before. But no, they're too slow to be hyper aggressive.
Are
You
we
know,
just in
they
that phase of
are.
like the game where there are some small changes and people just
Mhm.
aggressively don't like them, so they'll like pinpoint focus on them, and
I
that's why
think
they'll
that's
say,
it
"I really
largely.
don't like this aspect of the game. Thus it's
I
shit." AKA.
think I think that's largely it. I think people are just adjusting at the moment because
Right.
actually, look, in practical terms, they're doing rather well now. The
Hmm.
Death Guard are like sort of level pegging with the Thousand Sons, you know, and the Thousand Sons are one
Oh
of the
wow.
better armies
Yeah.
in 40k at the moment. Even after being just minutely nerfed, you know, in the last FAQ, which they kind of needed. I'm a Thousand Sons player, and I'm like, there were some combinations which obviously they hadn't foresaw. And it was stupid. It was like you could wipe out like units by doing this ridiculous number of like combining the army special rule with certain psychic powers and certain stratagems and certain items of war gear. It was like, come on, this
I'm
is
pretty
this is
sure I remember you talking
it's
about how
silly.
powerful they were like a year
Yeah,
or so ago. They were just
yeah,
like you were
they
impressed with how
were.
much lethal damage they could just pump out.
That's part of the problem, to be honest. There were certain, I mean, they still are. Don't get me wrong. They are the Thousand Sons are a damage heavy army. That's how they work now. They put out the mortal wounds like you wouldn't bloody believe. They're
Hmm.
incredible, especially if you've got Magnus. I mean, Magnus is by far the best Primarch. By far. He can he can shoot with his gaze of Magnus with a little bit of luck, which is not that you don't really need that much luck with the Thousand Sons, to be honest. He can knock out like other Primarchs in a turn of shooting with his
Oh
psychic
god.
powers. He's really good. And also he's very good in close combat as well because he has all of those psychic abilities that turn off armor saves and you know, all that shit. So and that
Hmm.
enhance and buff. He's a nasty piece of work. Also, he's the only Primarch that can deep strike.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Huh.
mean, Angron can, but only after he's been killed once.
Right.
It's with his resurrection ability.
Right. Okay.
Mortarion can't do it. I think can the lion do it? The lion might be able to do it because he's got that sort of forest walk ability, you know, where he walks through like it's really weird. He's got these they're not psychic powers. They're just these weird like metaphysical rules where it's like he walks through the memories of the forests of Caliban.
Okay.
And it's
That's
like it's kind
weird.
of weird teleport, you know? So he might be
Right.
able to. I haven't read up on it. He might be able to deep strike, or at least, like, do that thing where he can go into reserves and come back, you know,
Is
that
that is
kind of
that basically
shenanigans.
he has magic, but we've just found
Yeah.
a way to not call it magic?
It's not psychic powers, but it kind of is psychic
Yeah.
powers, yeah.
Yeah. All right. That's fine.
And
I understand because
but, you
otherwise,
know
how do you keep the Primarchs who don't have like chaos magic powers in
exactly.
the? You got to give them something.
Yeah,
You can't just up their
and,
numbers. I
no, and
guess.
it works. It works for the lion because he's always had that weird kind of, like that patina of hidden secrets, you
Hmm.
know, where there are things he knows and things that he can do that none of the other loyalist Primarchs know about. And of course, it's built into the Dark Angels now with the Watchers in the Dark.
Oh yeah. Of course. Yeah.
You know, nobody knows
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
they are or where they come from or what they do, but they seem to be part of this ability. It's like they guide him through this
Hmm.
metaphysical wood. It's really weird. It's really strange, and I kind of like it. if I'm honest.
Is this where we find out in like a few years' time there are wood elf Eldari?
Wow. Yeah. Well, I mean, they've always hinted at it. They've always hinted at it in the sense that you've got the Exodites, right?
Yeah.
The Exodites are just the wood. They are the wood elf version of the Eldari.
Oh, of course they are. They just they're the combination of wood elves and lizard men, right? Because they just ride on dinosaurs. Yeah.
Exactly that. And you know, I am just shocked they haven't come out with them yet. To be honest, I'm just shocked there aren't them because you know what, like Dino Rider style Eldari, like lizard riders, that people are going to go nuts. People are just going to buy, you know, just lay down the shekels, aren't they? You know,
Do you think the concern is diluting the Seraphon? Is that the idea? Because they'd look at maybe too similar.
That's possible. Yes, I think that might be a thing. To be honest,
unless they lean harder into like alien dinosaur and make it more visually. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, they still haven't done a lot of things for the Eldar that need updating. So
yeah,
you know,
I mean,
yeah. I'd even say striking scorpions. I know we've got the kill team, but it's going to be a faff for people to you know buy striking scorpions, etc., etc.
Most of the Phoenix Lords we've had. How many have we had? We've had Jane Czar, who's brilliant. We've had Morgan Ra, who is my favorite of them, and those are the only ones, aren't we? So we're still waiting on Karandras and Azuremen and Haroth. Yeah, and Fugan, obviously, Fugan the Burning Lance, which are gorgeous models. I mean, they're amazing, but they're all as old as we are.
Yeah. Oh God.
They were released the year I got into the hobby. 8 years old.
What year was that?
Oh my God. It was the same year that the Eldar Codex for Second Ed was released. So,
oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
1991, 1992.
So the models are a little on the on the yeah.
They're a little bit old to still be in the game system. Yes, they are.
Yeah. Are they on made to order? You just can't get them anymore, do you know?
I don't know. I've no idea. I'd assume they must be made to order at this point, right? Surely.
Well, they might just not be available, I suppose. Some models just aren't.
They could, they could.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I mean, surely, I'd assume when their codex comes out, there'll be at least one of the Phoenix Lords.
I'd certainly hope for I think that would be a better way to go than just make I don't know, like a Farseer general, like a new Farseer general, or a new kind of leader type character, which we see at the moment. This new codex, one new model kind of deal. If you give them a Phoenix Lord, I think people would be happy enough. Yeah.
Well, they've been doing it intermittently, haven't they? Like you know, as I say, we've had 2 of them thus far, and that's been wonderful. I mean, they are just amazing models. The new ones are just wow. The Morgan Ra. Oh God, that is brilliant. I love the original, but
have they done a striking scorpion dude?
Oh, what, Karandras?
Yeah.
No, I mean he is. I mean there is the old model of Karandras. Yeah. But they haven't done, and it's a shame really because you know they should have done him alongside Dratzhar.
Why?
For the Dark Eldar. Well, Dratzhar is the Lord of the Incubi, and it's always been hinted in the background. It's one of those things where they'll never say it absolutely, but it's very clear when you look at the model that he's Ahra, the first striking scorpion, the fallen scorpion, the original Phoenix Lord, the fallen one. It's so clear that he is. I mean, if you look at his armor, it's modeled after Karandras's. He's even got like the whipping head armor, you know, that's segmented like the striking scorpions. And if you look at the incubi, they look kind of like distorted striking scorpions. And their method, their sort of aspect, if you like, is very similar. It's like a dark version of the striking scorpion aspect.
Oh, okay.
And it's like, yeah, he's Ahra. They won't ever say it. They won't ever say it. They'll just hint at it, you know?
Sure, yeah.
But he is.
It'd be nice to get a set of him, and if you want to make new molds, or you just want to use the ones from Kill Team, and you know how they did the first edition version of the line, plus he had some guys with him.
Oh yeah.
Just do that box set, but with striking scorpions. So it's like a jumping on point if you want to have a striking scorpion force for your Eldar army. That could work.
these days, because of the way 10th Ed works, if you wanted to do like a striking scorpion aspect shrine army,
Mm.
you can do it.
Yeah.
It would be very weird. It would play in a very strange way, but it would be fun. It would
Mm.
be really fun, just like primarily composed of striking scorpions, striking scorpion exarchs, Karandras, etc.,
Could
etc.
they have
That
vehicles?
yeah,
Could it-
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then you could muck about with them, couldn't you? Like in model terms, you could model them to be like belonging to the aspect shrine, which would be really interesting.
Oh, if you wanted to be very 90s, you could try and do a snake camo on the vehicles.
Yeah,
A la
right.
Python Patrol
Right.
from G.I.
Why,
Joe.
why not? Right?
That could
I
be
mean,
fun.
that would be it would be a ball ache, is what it would be.
Oh yeah,
But
it's not for me to do. It's for me to suggest to
no,
someone
it's
who's a better
yes,
painter. That'll do.
absolutely. Someone who has like more time, more completely invested in this hobby.
Someone who
Absolutely,
can
yeah,
spend a week on one Imperial Guard
yes,
man, just one.
yes. Which is not. I don't think it's either of us, to be
No,
perfectly
but
honest. At this
I
point,
wouldn't have the patience for it.
no, no, definitely not.
I couldn't do
But
3D
yeah,
modeling because I got fucking bored about trying to
oh,
line up all the things to make a 3D model. I got tired of it. I
I
found it incredibly tedious.
yeah,
I
I'd
like
much
video
rather
editing
take.
more. I can see something.
Yeah, and I'd much rather for my money, I like taking I like taking an
Oh
existing
yeah.
model, chopping it up and sculpting bits on it. I mean,
Mm.
my entire Emperor's Children army is gonna be just that. It's at the moment, it's gonna be just that. It is gonna be stuff that's chopped up to the nth degree and has got all sorts sculpted on it. So,
Yeah.
it's what I'm doing with the Leviathan Terminators. I mean, I've already started those. So yeah.
See,
How do you Slaanesh up Imperial Terminators with a lot of green stuff is what you do.
oh yeah, I imagine so. Yeah. I'm trying to think of yeah, it's not easy because they still have to look heavy,
Yeah.
but you want to
Term
make them look slender as well.
yeah. Hermes and
Yeah.
Slaanesh have always been difficult. There's always
Yeah.
been how do you do them? How do you make them look Slaanesh? I mean, you can go lots of routes. I mean, some of mine have got like snake lower bodies, and that works really well.
Do you
You
turn
can
them
do
into like
stuff
torture rack devices? Is that what you do? You make the
exactly.
armor into
Yeah,
torture rack?
yeah. Exactly that. So you put like
Yeah.
flayed skin all over them, and you put like spikes, and Cenobite them up basically.
Mm.
Blades and chains and hooks and things like that. That works. That works really
Yeah.
well. Some people have gone down the very old school route of making them like androgynous or like
Yeah.
hermaphroditic. That works well too.
As in the armor hermaphroditic?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So
Oh
they're
yeah,
like
you could make them into
sort of
statues, couldn't you? I suppose as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
Yeah, that works. Yeah.
Absolutely, that would work.
Hmm.
You could go down one of the things you can do these days, of course, you could make them based on one of the 6 circles of Slaanesh's realm. So
Yes.
one like the circle of gluttony. Give them like make them like cannibals, give them big bellies like a plague marine, right?
Hmm.
And make them like butchers, give them like tools like cleavers and things like they're the grand gourmands of Slaanesh. That would work.
So that sounds like you'd mix like a plague bearer kit and a Terminator kit together. Yeah,
Exactly.
that would work. That'd be
That would
interesting.
work.
You
That would
just
be
need to
fun,
like
wouldn't it?
smooth out a plague bearer, which would be
That's it.
tricky,
Just
but
get rid
doable.
of all the buboes and things,
Yeah, you
and
only need the
it's
tummy on him, I
doable.
suppose, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Eh,
doable. It's perfectly doable, actually. Actually,
Yeah.
there's a thought. That is a thought. I wouldn't mind having a go at that.
See, I
And it would
can't
be
do it because it's
nice.
just too expensive.
Huh.
I can't myself buy a kit that I know is like 25 or more pounds, chop it up for like one bit,
Oh,
and then stick. I can't do that. No,
I
my
am
money
guilty.
won't allow me. No,
I
that's good.
am
I appreciate
terribly
people that
guilty of
can
that.
do that. It's just I can't afford it.
Terribly guilty of that. For
Are you gonna
somebody
get a
who
great clean one? Are you gonna make a great
oh,
clean one and use him as like a Slaneshi lord?
like a keeper of secrets or something.
Yeah. Well,
Like, you
he's
know what? You could do that.
yeah.
You
Of
could
course you
do
could.
that. Get the great unclean one, like smooth him out, get rid of all the buboes and the wounds
Hmm.
and things, and have him be like a greater demon of the circle of gluttony.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Keepers of secrets that come from the circle of gluttony would be like that, wouldn't they?
I think the only thing I would do with it is I'd go down the Hedonites route and make it very Arabian.
Mhm. Oh
Silk
god.
pillows. Maybe
That
some silky
oh,
things on it. Maybe
that
a Xerxes nose ring thing going
yes.
from an ear.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
that
That
would work.
aesthetic for the AOS Hedonites, I
It's really good.
oh, Games Workshop, you sometimes when they get it right, they get it really right, don't
Yeah.
they? And that, for me, they are my favorite AOS army. I think they look phenomenal. They've just got it right. They've got it right for Slaanesh, and I am just, oh yeah, love them. Love them.
All you need is for a demon of Slaanesh, then you just need Gruff to print you out Wishmaster, the Djinn from
Yes,
Wishmaster. There you go. You're done.
absolutely, the Djinn. Yeah, God Almighty, there's a blast from the past.
Fun film.
Anyway, Andy, we're here
Yeah.
to talk about the LVO, obviously, and
LVO.
there was a lot of stuff. There was a lot of stuff. I want to throw it open to you, Andy. Where do you want to start with this? Where would you like to start with this?
We'll start in the order I sent you the links,
Yeah,
because otherwise I'll be jumping
you'll
around.
be all over the place. So
Yeah.
what's the first one you want?
The first one I've got on my list is The Descent into the Worlds of Nightmares, which is very much a George topic.
Oh God, I've got to get this kill team. Two armies I really love:
Yeah.
the Drukhari and the Night Lords. I mean, oh,
It's a real bummer for your
just,
bank account, that's for sure.
yeah. This is a bitch. This is
Yeah.
a bitch. It really is. But I mean, this is what I want from Games Workshop. This is just it. And it's a bit of a shocker for me, if I'm perfectly honest. They haven't gone down like doing specific models for the legions, the undivided legions, in any game system for Yonks.
No, they're finally giving each of them at least the main four personality, which is what they've needed for
This was an absolute
donkeys.
shock to me. The last time they did this with the undivided legions was back in the 3.5 days when they released. Yeah, well, yeah. Do you remember, I don't know if you were in the hobby then, Andy, but do you remember like the Night Lords, Chaos Lord they did back then?
And not offhand, the only ones I really remember are the Plague Marine, the Thousand Suns Rubric Marine, the Rubric Sorcerer with a very Egyptian headdress. I remember those ones, but not the Night Lord one offhand.
Yeah, it was the same era, same like release period. They did one Night Lord's Chaos Lord, and he was fantastic. He was really wonderful. He had he had all the theatricality of the Night Lords. He had the big bat ears on his helmet, and he had all these chains and things. He was gorgeous. And obviously these are taking design inspiration from that aesthetic. But oh my God, these are beautiful.
Yeah, and these were something that we learned about a few months, a month or something.
Back, I mean,
I think wasn't the assumption that these were at least my assumption was these were an individual release, not part of a game box set.
Yeah, but apparently so. I mean, I'd assume they are going to come out eventually because people are going to want these.
They always do. I mean, they always do. They always release the box set ones separately eventually. It happens.
They are amazing, and I love what they've done with them. Instead of putting I mean, you mentioned this the last time we talked about them, I think, but you know the classic Night Lords bat ears. They put them on the on like the respirator. They're coming out of the respirator and going backwards over the helmets, and that works. It makes them look a bit less sort of goofy and a bit more streamlined.
Yeah, definitely.
They're wonderful. They are, as a Chaos Space Marine fanboy, these guys are phenomenal. Every single one of them is phenomenal.
And I don't think too hard to change into Emperor's Children, which we probably mentioned last time as well.
No, I mean, particularly the big guy with the eviscerator and the flayed flesh all over him and the hooks. I mean,
easy.
Actually, you don't even have to do anything to him. Just paint him differently, and he's painting purple, right? Or painting pink and black. You've got one, right? You've got an Emperor's Children Marine. I mean, the Night Lords, obviously, they have become one of the more popular legions since Aaron Dembski Bowden wrote the Night Lords trilogy.
Yeah, definitely.
And people are going to go nuts for these. They're going to want a whole army of them. So, and if this is the route they're going, if they're going to do more like this, and I assume they're going to, oh man, can you imagine what they're going to do with like the Word Bearers and the Iron Warriors? Oh,
yeah, I actually hope they don't specifically do the four that are getting that have proper army. Well, apart from the Emperor's Children, that have proper armies. It'd be nice, like you say, for them to focus on like the Red Corsairs. I think would be quite nice as well. That would be really nice to see those guys get some love.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they should save the the big 4 cult legions for when their codices come out.
Yeah, just do them for the big game, and then kill team, like you say, can be for the more specific stuff.
Absolutely. Well, the thing
100%.
is, whenever they do the cult legions, they always give them like a pretty much full miniatures release, don't they?
Pretty much.
Or like
Well, now, yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty full army lists, aren't they? So that's fine, that's cool.
Fine.
But the Undivided Legions, they tend to get the more generic releases, don't they? So you've got your Chaos Space Marine kit and your Chaos Terminators kit. So it's lovely to see this happening. It's
Yeah.
really lovely, and wow! Actually, the champion in this set, the more elaborate guy, he is modelled after the Chaos Lord I was talking about. He's the same pose.
Okay.
Same pose, got the same cape and everything. The only real difference is that Chaos Lord had a power fist instead of that wonderful blade that this guy's got.
Right.
But yeah, no, I mean, I don't even collect the Night Lords, but I want these guys.
Well, you'd be getting them anyway for the Mandrakes, I would imagine, right?
Yes. Oh my
Yeah.
God. I mean,
when was the last time Mandrakes got figures?
Mandrakes got figures. The last time was when. Do you remember when it was in 4th ed, was it? Was it 4th or 5th when the Dark Elder had their big renaissance, when they were changed, like the whole army list was changed, and Phil Kelly came in and wrote that new codex that changed their background quite profoundly as well.
Was that when they were introduced? Were they introduced in 3rd or 4th?
They were,
it 3rd?
They were originally introduced at the beginning of 3rd. They were the flagship army for the beginning of 3rd. They were in the box set, the box set with the Black Templars.
That's right. That's right.
It was
yeah.
Space Marines and
they had the skinniest codex.
Yeah, it was a pamphlet. It was a pamphlet.
I had that one.
It was so terrible that was rewritten halfway through 3rd ed. There is
really?
a 3.5 codex for that. Yeah.
Jesus. So that was the last time we had Mandrakes.
No,
sorry, 4th edition. So an edition later.
Yeah. So there was a release. They completely redid the entire Dark Elder army. They redid all the miniatures. They redid their aesthetics. They rewrote the background quite heavily. That's when they introduced the Homunculi Covens as like a dedicated army. And that's when they became really Cenobitic as well, like basically Cenobites in space. And that's when this style of Mandrake came about. Because before this, in the 3.5 codex, Mandrakes weren't like this. Mandrakes were just Dark Eldar in like skin suits. They weren't like demonic like these guys are. They were just normal Dark Elder, but they had these like suits that blended into shadows.
Right. Okay.
They were pretty dull, to be honest, and a bit crap as well. But they completely rewrote them, obviously, to make them into these mysterious pseudo-demonic creatures that exist in a shadow realm that's apart from Comora. And even the other Drukhari don't know what they are or where they come from as such. But this is the first time we've had new miniatures since that original 4.0 overhaul for the Mandrakes.
Right.
And yeah, they're gorgeous. I mean, they are really wow, aren't they? It's fantastic.
When you say wow, do you mean impressive wow, or do you mean World of Warcraft?
Oh no, I mean impressive.
Okay, because
I mean, not as an acronym. I think they're really good. I think they're really beautiful.
I agree, but I also get a bit of a wow vibe from them, and I think it's because of Illidan. Illidan had the green marks in his body, and he was kind of a darker elf as well. Didn't have black skin, kind of elf, but I don't know why. Those are the vibes I'm getting from these.
The vibe you're getting, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's primarily because of the black skin and the green energy effects coming from them, which is it's a great look, obviously.
It is beautiful, isn't it? And also we've got an update now. Of course, I mean, one of the things the Mandrakes have never really had is a character leading them before. They don't have like a champion equivalent. They're just a unit, So to have this character that seems to be like shaping the shadows, that's really cool. And I'd assume they're going to have to introduce this as like a Mandrake champion in the main game when the Drukhari Codex comes out.
Yeah, you'd imagine so. Yeah,
because it doesn't make sense for it to exist here and then not in.
Is that the assumption that this is the leader? I wasn't sure if this was just like a spellcaster or something.
It's something. It's a character, isn't it? Some description. It does something different to the others.
Yeah, that's true. The reason why I wasn't sure is because it looks fairly similar visually, apart from the big energy effect, similar to the rest of them, just with a different blade. So I wasn't entirely sure if it was a champion-esque character or not.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's a character of some sort, of
Hmm.
some description, the Shade Weaver, and apparently its whole shtick is that it can actually shape the shadows around
Oh,
itself, which is really cool. I mean, the way they rewrote the Mandrakes when in the Phil Kelly Codex is rather than just being Dark Elder in skin suits, they don't even know if they are or were originally Dark Elder. Although by looking at them, you'd suspect that they maybe were, but they exist in some shadow realm. It's not even in the warp. It's not in the webway. Nobody knows like what manner of space it exists in.
are
But
these
they can
Dark Elder
actually
Exodites? Is that what they are? Because I get a kind of barbarian tribal vibe from
possibly
them.
nobody knows like what power or what entity or what force turned them into this.
Hmm.
But they can pull themselves out of shadows. So they are like bywords in Comora for fear, for terror.
Right.
Even the other Drakari are terrified of them because
Huh.
you never know where they're going to come from. And in fact, do you know like the lore of the Drakari? You know Asdrabale Vex, the guy who rules
Yes.
Comora effectively.
Yeah.
He was assassinated at one point. He like comprehensively assassinated. Nobody knows who organized it as such, but the mandrakes were the ones that destroyed his physical form. They were the ones who actually came out and killed him. And
Ah.
all of his clone forms, all of the bits of his soul that were kept by the homunculi to bring him back, all of those were destroyed at the same time. There was no way he could come back,
Right.
but he did. He resurrected himself, and nobody knows how, and nobody knows how it happened or why he was assassinated. But as a result of that, he has now become what the Dark Elder call they call them it's something like dark muses or
Hmm.
something like that, which are their equivalents of saints or prophets or even like demigods, because it's
Okay.
very clear that you cannot kill Asdrabale Vect, right? And everyone who was involved in the assassination, he took terrible vengeance on. Obviously, it's
Oh yeah, that
Asdrabale,
makes sense.
Asdrabale,
Yeah.
but he didn't take any action against these guys.
Really? Oh,
Mm.
okay. So
Even
everyone not a
though,
mandrake he killed.
yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
no action against these guys at all, because
Interesting.
even he is like, yeah,
Fair enough. Yeah, he
not
killed
going
me.
to touch
It's all
that,
right. Yeah, I'll let
not
it go.
going to so that's a good, I mean, as I say, the Drakari are afraid of these guys,
Hmm.
and they're not afraid of anything. They like experience, they like pain, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, these guys are fear made manifest effectively. And I think they've done a wonderful job with these guys. I mean, they don't look very different from the existing miniatures, to be honest. But
Really? Okay.
yeah, but they look a little bit more. Obviously, they've had a bit more finesse applied to them with the new sculpting techniques, so they look a little bit more detailed and a
Hmm.
little bit more dynamic than the existing miniatures. But they fit beautifully,
Yeah, they're
and
very
yeah,
good.
they're beautiful. They're absolutely beautiful. I love
Stupid bit of
them.
theory crafting. What if
Mhm.
they're serving or have a little tiny essence of a shard of a Catan in them, which is why they have green glowing in them.
Mm,
Which
you
is another
know,
reason why Vect wouldn't mess with
mm,
them, because if it's a Catan,
ooh,
it's like no, nope.
yeah, it wouldn't
That'd be
surprise me
fun.
if they imply that at some point. That
Yeah.
wouldn't surprise me because there's always been this implication that there's a darker power behind the
Mm.
mandrakes, something that pulled them into that shadow realm and that remade them into that.
Yeah, it'd
So
be
a
fun.
Catan would make sense.
Yeah,
It
they
would
have
make
reforged species into other things before.
mhm. I
Yeah.
mean,
Oh,
they're
that'd be
scarier than
that'd be handy.
demons, these guys, aren't they? I mean, like, I
Really?
imagine even demons are scared of these guys.
I depend like if it depends if they can destroy a demon completely, because that's usually
Mm.
scares a demon.
Well,
If it just ends.
the thing with these guys is it's not the fact that they can kill you, which they can. They comprehensively can. They're like some of the best assassins in the universe. They can drag you back to their shadow realm, and they can keep you
Ah,
alive for a long time.
longer than the homunculi.
Maybe not as long as the homunculi. I mean,
Okay.
the homunculi are like,
I was
they
gonna
can
say
not
it.
only keep you alive, they can kill you in every elaborate way, then bring you back and kill
Yeah.
you again
See,
and again
if I give you
and
two
again.
choices, which would you prefer? Going to the homunculi or going to these guys?
Oh my god. Well, at least with the
Oh, good
homunculi,
choice. But...
there's some chance that you might come out of it. I mean, you won't be the same. You'll be in a different shape,
Yeah,
but you
yeah.
can still survive. These guys, they'll just keep you in that shadow realm forever and torture you in like
Mm.
the worst ways. So it's, I mean, it's a Sophie's choice, isn't it? But
Yeah, it's not good.
you know, I don't know. On the
None of
face
it's
of it,
good,
probably
granted.
no, you are in trouble here either
Yeah.
way. And being taken by any Dark Elder, any Drukhari, it's the worst thing that can happen to you, let's be honest.
Cyanide pills, baby.
Yeah,
Always
that's
have them.
exactly it. But that's the thing though, right? It's not gonna help if you're taken by the
No.
homunculi, they'll just resurrect you. They're
Yeah.
just like, "Ah, you thought you were getting away and ah." Oh my god, but no, they are fabulous. They are. What do you think of them, Andy? What are your thoughts?
I think they're nice. I think I don't know whether it's a painting issue. I think my only problem with them is they all look pretty similar.
Mhm.
There's not a lot of distinction between them. Some of them are in slightly
Yeah,
different poses, but maybe it's because of how they've been painted. Visually, they all kind of blend
yeah.
together a little bit too much, I'd say.
And I think that is a
That
sort of
might be the
Mandarin
point.
thing,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah, if it's not your aesthetic, then it can be, you know.
It just kind of mushes. It's like Imperial Guard. It's like me saying the
Mm,
Imperial Guard all look the same because they all just kind of mush together. Maybe
mhm,
they could have done with some more interesting, maybe not interesting because they all have
mm,
good poses, more dynamic poses, slightly different
mhm.
poses because a lot of them have the similar effect of the green fire on their
Yes.
right arm, and
Mhm.
maybe there should
One
have
of the
been a
things
bit more
they did
distinction there.
with the original Mandrakes, not the original ones, but the ones that the ones that these are based on, they've got slightly different faces. So one of them doesn't have any eyes, just has a big, like, glowing green mouth
Hmm.
open. One of them doesn't have a mouth at all, just has the eyes, and that kind of works. That makes them quite sinister and weird.
You have that here, but I think the hair covers up a lot of the detail. One of
Yes.
them has like no mouth. I don't see one with
Mhm.
no eyes, but it might just be covered by hair.
By hair, could be.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of them have a lot of hair covering a lot of their
Yes,
faces,
they do. They
which is
do.
going to be an absolute cack poo to paint around.
Yes. Yeah, that
Especially
is
doing
one
like
thing.
dark skin with white hair. Oof.
Mhm. Mhm.
Oof. Good
Although
luck.
I'd be tempted to just do them as shadows, do them completely black,
Mm, that'd
because I
make it
think that would,
easier, yeah.
with just like the glowing green tattoos and fire and
Mm,
eyes,
mm.
I think that'd be quite sinister and quite fun.
Do you like the scenery piece that they come with? Because it's quite relatively a
It's
small
Well,
box.
it's
Because
fine,
it's
it's cool. I mean,
yeah.
my focus is all on it's all on the guys. It really is. It's fine, it's a nice bit of scenery, and I definitely find a place for it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But my focus is on the models because 'cause they're great. I think they're just wow.
It was a pretty strong. Was this the first thing shown at the LVO, or I can't
I
remember.
don't
It's
know. I honestly can't remember. It was a little while back.
yeah, it's still
But
a good one.
wow, it's a good opener. It's a good
Yeah.
opener. What's up next, Andy?
The next one is apparently the Crew Getter hunting packs.
Yeah, the Crute. I mean, the Crute have been a little bit neglected for a while, haven't they?
Well,
In the
it's a
town.
Xenos race. Yeah, if
Yeah.
unless you're a Space Marine or Chaos, everything got
It's
neglected.
true. It's true. I mean, I was actually a little shocked at this. I didn't think the Tau were coming this early.
No. Well, maybe you mean just like a new codex? I guess it depends
Yeah.
like what this is the codex Tau or is the codex just a Crute
Oh,
codex?
no, it's Tau. It's
It's
the
a full
Tau
Tau one.
Codex.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
Yeah, it's the full Tau.
Ah, okay.
So they're coming relatively soon, and, from what I understand, they're one of the armies that needs a little bit of work in 10th.
Were
Um,
they not good?
no, it's not
Something?
necessarily that they're not good. I mean, it may be what you may be seeing is the fact that they're not as ridiculously good as they were in 9th.
Oh, that's
That
right.
may be
Their guns were stupid,
oh,
weren't they?
to the point whereby they were a little bit unfun to play against in 9th. Let's be honest. They were one of those armies that could table most other armies in the first couple of turns
Oof.
if they were put together in a particular way.
Right, right.
So they like the Indexed nerfed that pretty damn hard for 10th. Um, but from what I understand, they're kind of like performing mid-level, you know?
Okay. Well, that's probably
Doing
being
okay.
mid's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see them come so early. I mean, obviously, one of the reasons is their miniatures range is pretty full. They've got models for everything, pretty much.
Yes. Yeah. The crew were probably their older ones that hadn't really been touched for a while, I imagine. And there's
There
still
was
some
a
there's something missing from this crew set that we'll get into all of the miniatures later. But one of the things that I noticed that's missing that I remember from Crute are the dog things.
oh, really? There's none of them in here. That's a shame.
No, there's no Crute
Oh, I like
hounds.
those. The fruit hounds. Yeah, I
Yeah.
liked those. I
There's
did
no
like
giant
those.
T-Rex thing either, to be fair. So
Ah, oh well,
what was it called? What was the T-Rex
Oh,
called?
bloody hell, I can't remember. Off the top of my head, I
Like
cannot remember.
Tyrannosaurus Rex or something silly. I don't know.
Crutosaurus Rex.
Yeah, I don't know. It had a weird beak, like everything else Crute.
But I mean, this is quite cool, actually. I do wonder if they're going to make it so that you can make a primarily Crute-based force
I
for the
imagine they
Tau.
would. I mean, if they're selling this box set, I'm assuming
Mm.
it's a box set so you could play this as a force.
I'd assume there's going to be a detachment in the Codex, right, which is a
There
Crute
must be.
force,
Yeah.
primarily Crute force, which is really nice. I love because that kind of doubles up the Tau in a weird kind of way, doesn't it? It means you can make either a Crute army or a Tau army, or you can
It
mix them
reminds me a
together.
lot of Dawn of War, because with Dawn of War you could specialize when you got up to a certain tech level into going for the battle suits, or you could go into the Crute stuff. So it
Oh,
makes
right,
me
yeah.
kind of remember that, because you couldn't have the Crutosaurus Rex or whatever it's called and the battle suits at the same time, because that would have broken the game. So it was either you
Yeah,
went for one or you went for the other.
kind of makes sense.
That's how this felt to me. It's like, oh yeah,
Mhm.
now you can have your Crute build, and that's kind
Mhm.
of fun. I don't think it
I'm
was the
looking at the
optimal range to play.
miniatures.
But
I mean,
yeah,
the
these are
Tau are
great.
not they're not my aesthetic. They're not I mean, I love the fact that it exists in 40K for people who like it, who want that sort of, like, slightly sort of anime mecha inspired thing going
Hmm.
on. It's not my aesthetic, it's not for me. But the things I do like in the Tau are the Crute. I think they're kind of interesting. I like that sort of slightly 2000 AD old school Games Workshop thing they've got going on.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
And these are really interesting. They've messed about with, like, the anatomy of the Crute a little bit and made them a little bit more distinct here. So they've got much more bird-like faces, which I
Yeah.
really like. By the way, Zeech conversions. That's what I'm thinking.
Ooh. Ooh,
That's what
that's
I'm
not a
thinking.
bad call. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking, like, I could make these guys into Zangor, or I just chop the heads off, put them onto Zeech sorcerers, and you've got a
Mm.
nice looking, like, bird mutation. They're very cool. I really like the anatomy on these guys. They've got their hands have had a lot of work put into them. They've got, like,
Yeah.
really distinct hands.
Is it
Like,
like
they've
four
got
fingers? I
I
think
couldn't
no
quite
thumb.
make it out, but it's really odd, isn't it? They've got, like, one really long index finger.
Yeah.
I just like it. I like the fact that they're so distinct as an alien race, an ostensibly humanoid alien race. These guys as well, they're much more upright than most
Yes.
Kroot have been before.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I like that, but I do.
Yeah, it's nice to see like a very, like you say, a distinct alien race that looks like you say alien, that isn't just an orc. And I think
Yes.
maybe it's not a huge issue, but maybe they shouldn't have painted them green.
Yeah, maybe they should have made
Maybe
them a little bit more distinct from
the
orcoid races,
the
right?
paint scheme makes me think Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as well, because they've given them
Mhm.
on the like breastplate
That's
underside.
that's another difference. They've got like a shell
Yeah,
on
like
their
a
breast.
turtle tummy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Which I
I
like. I like the
imagine.
idea of, but
Yeah, I think it's kinda cool. I think it looks really good, but it's
mm,
odd, isn't it? It's
yeah.
unusual.
Like you say, it just makes them a little bit too much Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle for
Yes.
me when you've got the green on that kind of color scheme.
Mhm,
But I
mhm.
do like the blue one that they've got on
Yes,
the road. I think is probably a bit more of the
I
color
like
scheme
that.
I would like a bit more on them, and it makes them a
I
bit more
really like that.
Tau, I suppose, as
Yes,
well, right?
it does, it does. It ties them into the Tau a little
Yeah,
bit more, doesn't it? Which is nice. I mean, this is the thing I've always wanted for the Tau, they in their background, it's always been described that they have assimilated into their empire hundreds of alien races. There
yeah.
are loads of alien races, including human colonies, by the way. I
Yes,
wanna
yeah.
see that. I actually wanna
You
see
get
that in the
three.
game.
I
Yeah,
can think
the
of three.
Vespids, these
Vespit's
guys, and
Tau. That's
yeah.
it. That's it. I
That
don't know what
that's
else.
not that's not how the background goes. In the
No.
background, they're supposed to have loads of alien races, and I wanna see it. I want to
Yeah,
see that represented.
I think the only way, because I understand why they didn't do that, because that would be very expensive to make
Yeah.
lots of variations. But I think maybe a better idea would have been to have fire warriors, and instead of pathfinders, have the pathfinders be an alien race, a different alien race.
Or give them an ally system.
Yeah.
Give them an ally system. So if you can have Xenos, like a limited number of Xenos units in the army.
I'm trying to think like which ones would work, because you couldn't have orcs.
No,
you could have humans,
unless,
Imperial Guard, at least.
The idea of orcs that the Tau have sort of reformed, I think that's great. I think that's a brilliant idea.
Are you suggesting there's like old people homes, but for orcs, and they're just in like couches, drinking beer?
or maybe it's more like a Clockwork Orange, right? Where it's the
oh my god,
yeah. I love that idea. I think orc units that have got like machines that like tamp down on their aggression.
Oh, I don't know why. Do you remember the live-action Street Fighter movie? The machine that uses that they put on Charlie Blanca's head with the little glasses. Those are all on orc heads, and they're just like peaceful flowers and kittens playing with each other.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
So I could go with the orc Necron. They would be friends, allies at best, but
could reprogram them maybe. Tinker with the insides of their heads. it's like the T800, isn't it? You know?
Yeah.
That's how they did the T800, isn't it? You know,
that's right.
John Connor got one and messed about with it. Maybe they could do the same.
I think my issue with the Necron would be like how advanced a Necron is.
Yeah, and also they're not machines in the same way.
No, it's weird.
They're not programmed like they're not robots. It's wrong calling a Necron a robot. It's not. It's not even a cyborg. It's not even a cyborg, right? Because it's got no organic components.
No, it's close to a rubric.
Right, it's a living metal thing. It's a metal construct with a living soul inside of it, right?
Does it have a soul in it, or does it have like a remnant of a soul? It's weird.
The soul is there, but it's like the soul has been mutilated and chopped and transformed by the process of biotransference. So it's really horrible.
I would best describe it as like, is a banana if it's just a banana skin? Right, it's like, well, it is a banana, but there's just nothing left of it apart from the skin. It's still a banana, I guess.
It's like an AI echo, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's what it is. It's like is it the original Necron? I mean, we're getting into some pretty deep existential terms here. This is like it's the old argument of like uploading consciousness, right? Can you, or even it's the teleporter argument, isn't it? You know, is it the same person that's formed on the other side, or is it just a copy of the person? It's hard to say with biotransference because it's such a mysterious process.
And it happened so long ago, no one really remembers it.
No one really remembers it.
I'm shocked that in Necron lore, no one has decided we're going to capture alien races and biotransfer them and use them as fodder.
Yeah.
I'm shocked that's never been a thing. I know they don't respect the younger races, but I'm surprised they don't just use them as fodder. Like they make shit Necrons without living metal and just go, they are the first things in to die. And they could also use the process to transfer them back if they wanted to go back to trying to find out humans. Why experiment on themselves?
It kind of has happened the other way. You've got characters like Illuminor Xerath who does kidnap like flesh and blood aliens to try and sort of reverse biotransference. But it hasn't. No, they haven't put other creatures through it. Then again, it was so particularly designed for the Necron tire. Would it work? Or would it
I don't know.
Eliminate them? Would it just like burn them down to nothing?
I think if you wanted to do like
biomechanoid homunculus thing, like
you see, I think that would be a fun thing to do for Necron lore. Like they find a biotransference engine that still partially works, and they do something with that. From a lore kind of story perspective, it would be neat. Yeah. Space Marines find it, or the Mechanicus have found it, and the Necrons are fighting them to try and claim it back.
Actually, the Mechanicus have not tried to seize one of them. If Belisarius Call hasn't got one,
I'd use it as well. Everyone would be like, Bell, don't use it. You'd be like, it's fine.
Fuck it.
We'll do it, yeah.
I've redesigned it. It's fine.
What could go wrong?
What could go wrong, right? He is like that. He's very like that.
Dark
Well,
Mechanicus
exactly.
introduced the Dark Mechanicus holding on to one.
Oh my god,
That would
I mean,
work.
Belisarius is one thing. But Belisarius is basically sane. You know, he's basically sane. The Dark Mechanicum getting a hold of one,
Some
you just
interesting
don't
ideas.
know.
At least I
You just
think
don't
so, at
really
least.
know, right?
No.
What could they make? A warp-painted biotransference machine
Mm.
with demons swirling around inside of it, and
Yeah,
scrap code, and yeah,
contained multiple demons into an approximate version of a Necron warrior. That would be interesting.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, that'd be pretty fun. That could be your
Whoa.
monster unit
They'd come
easily.
up with some real horrors there, wouldn't
Yeah,
they?
that'd be a
Bloody
great idea.
hell.
Yeah, some
Would.
ideas there.
I'm surprised no one's written that as a short story, quite frankly, because it's
There you go,
actually,
George.
yes, there we are.
Yeah, there you
That
go.
made me a
Something.
1. That made me a 1. But yeah, Crew, love them. Glad they're back. Glad they're back. I
What do you
like
think of
these
the
guys.
bigger things, whatever they're called, the monkey sapien
Oh,
things? I can't remember what
the
they're called.
rider things.
Yeah,
I think they're very AOS actually, aren't they?
kind of. Yeah.
I can see these guys being like adapted to like as conversions for something in AOS. They've got that real theatricality and that over the topness that AOS has. I like
Mm.
them. I actually really like them, and I like the jewelry and stuff that they've got. Gives the Crute a bit more culture. You know what I mean? It makes them a bit more their own thing rather than just being, extensions of the Tau.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, like we said, it looks like you might be able to run them as a force, and they've got a few different
Mm,
characters here as well. Like, you've got your leader
yeah,
character that can have a stick or a bow and a shuriken, or you
yeah,
can have
yeah.
the one that looks like a guy from Necromunda with multiple knives and a lump of
Mhm.
leg on his belt. Yeah, they're all
Yeah.
really interesting
No,
designs.
actually, they're really cool miniatures, aren't they? I'm just looking
Yeah.
at the riders now, and they're so dynamic, right? They're all
Oh yeah.
rearing up or like, and the riders are all doing different things. They've got their spears on their backs. And I also like the fact that they've got bits of bolted on armor on their mounts as well, some of which looks to have come from like Imperial Knights and stuff.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I like that.
The Kroot are now a force that could easily go into Necromunda, and you wouldn't
Yeah,
really sniff at it. You'd just be like, yeah, that
I
makes
think
sense.
so. They look like Necromunda miniatures, actually, to
Yeah,
be honest, don't they? They've got
definitely.
that level of character going on.
Mm.
But no, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of these guys. I actually really. I mean, I'm not going to fork out for the box set because
No.
it's not my steez, but it's nice.
Yeah, it looks really good. Like you say, it's just not something I would
Mhm.
really pick up either.
Yeah, not
And you get the new codex in it as well. So, which,
yeah,
funnily enough, it has a normal Tau on the front of it, which made me laugh.
has the normal Tau on it. Yeah,
But,
of course.
yeah, well, yeah.
But,
I
oh
get it,
well.
but you know.
Yeah, I get it. It is Codex Tower, not Codex
Eh,
Crew. Even so,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, what we got next, Andy?
Next one is the the Crone Seer.
Crethusa, I think.
Yeah, that's the
Crethusa, the Crone Seer, heralds
Bird
of
Woman.
yeah, Bird Lady. I mean, it's I do have a bit of a soft spot for the Daughters of Cain. I do like these guys, largely because of their background. I like the
Mm.
fact that they were torn from the belly of Slaanesh. That makes me happy.
Have they done much
Uh,
with the daughters since
Not really. The
Raffi
last
did the
time,
thing?
yeah, that's it. That's the last time they had anything done when you had the book, the big book where she ascended to be a
That's right.
proper goddess.
Yeah.
She had a fight with Kragnos and she beat him, which was really cool. She is now an established goddess, obviously.
Ah,
She is
yes.
a goddess in the mortal realms, and people are not happy about it, but she's like, "Fuck off, I'm a goddess. I can do what I like." Literally. One of the her Broken Realms book where she ascended, there is like a sub-chapter at the end, like an appendix, where there's like a gathering of representatives from all the Order races,
Mm,
and
mm,
she just comes in and, like, Stormcast is like, "How dare you do this?" "How dare you?" And, like, "Goddess, do what I like." And it's
Yeah,
like, "Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
What what are you gonna say to that, right?" It's she is literally a goddess now, in the same
Mhm.
way that Teclis is and Nagash is a god, and, so yeah. Shut up, right?
It does feel kinda weird though, the Daughters of Cain, to me, feel like the Fire Slayers. They feel like this
Yeah,
kind of
they need a bit
half-assed
more.
army that just
Yeah,
kind of exist on the outer rims, but
they
for no
need
real
more.
purpose.
They need
Yeah.
more. I want to see more units. I want to see more going on with them because they've got great background.
Hmm.
They've got really interesting individual units and miniatures. I love all the Scathborn stuff. The stuff that is because they were torn from the belly of Slaanesh, they've got Slaaneshi elements. So the snake-bodied ones and the
Oh, them
harpy
ones.
style
Okay.
ones,
Yeah,
love
yeah.
those. Love those to bits. Ironically, what suffers in the Daughters of Cain are the core units, the witch elf stuff.
The old ones.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
seems a bit also ran, doesn't it? It seems a bit dull in comparison to the other stuff that's
Hmm.
part of the army. And then, of course, I mean, you've got the big Morathai kit, which is a dual kit and is really cool, right? It's just
Oh, yeah.
it is. I think it, and given like they've played a key role in a lot of the events of the Mortal Realms, so they deserve a little bit more. They deserve a little bit more thrown at them.
Something, yeah, some filling out of them. But then again, we still have to get the Umbraneth again, which
Yeah.
I say every single time. The Umbraneth still
Mm,
have not came around, and they're meant to be
I
another
know.
big faction.
Well,
I
yeah,
actually
I mean,
thought
like
this was an Umbraneth
me
person when I
too.
first saw
I
her.
thought so. Yeah,
Yeah,
I thought this was the beginning of the Umbraneth. I really
but
did.
yeah, no.
No, the Umbraneth are really conspicuous by their absence because, like the Lumineth, they're the opposite of the Lumineth. Obviously, you know they're the shadow version of the light elves. So they are a big faction in the background of the Mortal
Hmm.
Realms. Malarion is one of the key gods of the Mortal Realms, right? He
Yeah,
rules. He rules Ulgu, the realm of shadow, but is conspicuous by his absence. And I mean, he's a kid. He's obviously going to be huge, right?
sure.
He's going to
Yeah,
be
it
the
has to
same
be.
scale as Nagash and you know the big bad kits. He's going to be like Archaon, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um, but nah, doesn't seem to
We
be doing
we've only
much.
had that one Warcry
Yeah.
warband, and that's it. And they look
Which were
good. They
great.
looked really
Yeah,
good.
they look
Yeah.
really lovely. I love the idea of them, like, being partially made of shadow and
Hmm.
weaving shadow about them, and of being the opposite to the Lumineth, which they are. I think that's a wonderful idea. Um, but yeah, we haven't really seen a great deal of them. That
Were you
said, I like her. I
were
think
you
she's really
surprised
cool.
that she's coming with book 5?
Yeah, actually, I mean, I was surprised by book 5 full stop. I thought it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
only a 4 books. I'm sure I remember them saying at some point it was only 4 books.
You and Gruff have said on previous shows that there were only 4 books, and then I think the last time we talked about Usharon, it said this.
Yeah,
There was an article that said the story continues in reference to book 4, and everyone was like, "So does that mean there's a 5th one?"
yeah,
And I guess that there is. I guess there
apparently
is.
there is, and
Yeah.
good stuff, you know. I mean, they're good books. There's good miniatures associated with them. It's a really nice way of giving some of the armies a bit of a leg up and reintroducing them into the game, you know, and into the
Hmm.
background. She's lovely. I mean, she's a really interesting, weird, odd-looking miniature. I love the crows around her. I love the fact she's perched on this old bit of like Lumineth, like masonry.
Mm.
Lovely wings. She's a very pretty miniature indeed.
Yeah, it's nice to see a daughter of Cain that isn't just Snake. It's not
Yes,
just a snake lady. It's like, oh,
yes.
she's a bird lady. That's cool.
Yeah,
And
so there are
I like the
different,
pretty
like
crows as well. I like the little
I like
birds.
crows. The crows are
Yeah,
very well sculpted actually, aren't they?
they
They're
are.
actually really lovely
Yeah.
birds, you know? But no, you're right. It is nice to see, like, them expanding that a little bit. I mean, and
Mm.
I really love the background of this, the notion that while they were in the belly of Slaanesh, while the souls were in the belly of Slaanesh, they've become tainted and warped, so they have these animalistic aspects when they're made flesh.
Mm.
And it's a mistake as well, it's not something that was intended. This is just the way they are. It's the same with Morathai. She's not supposed to have that big snake body. That's as a result of her experiences in Slaanesh's belly, and that's brilliant. I
Is
love
the
that notion.
is the idea that they're maybe going to go forward with the design aspect of them that they're mythological female monsters? Because Marathi's obviously a Medusa. This
Like a
lady kind of
gorgon,
looks like a harpy.
yeah.
Uh,
I think that's the inspiration, definitely.
yeah. I can
They've
think of
put
like other mermaids we could have. What else could
yeah.
we have? I
Oh
can't think of
god.
any like female-based like mythological creatures offhand.
Oh cripes. I mean, most of the female-based mythological creatures are actually represented in other armies as well. So
That's
banshees,
the thing.
obviously, you've got
Yeah,
those the night
the Night
haunts,
Haunt. Yeah,
obviously. I mean, there are loads actually. There, something like Scylla, the female Titan from ancient Greek mythology. That's like a sea serpent creature.
I think that
Uh,
goes too close to
yes,
Medusa,
and
so
also to the
that's fine.
Ideneth, right? That's kind of
Yeah,
close to the Ideneth style.
yeah.
Um, there's Furies, things like that.
Do Furies look like any kind of animal mix though?
It depends on where you go. There are different like incarnations of Furies in different mythologies. A lot of
Hmm.
the time, they are just like horrific women,
Yeah,
horrific
yeah.
female specters or entities. But in some mythologies, they look a lot like how Gorgons are described. They have like snake hair and whatnot.
Hmm.
It depends on where you go, but there are lots of female monsters in mythology because, of course, a lot of mythologies are primarily written by men, and it's all about their hang-ups with regards to women. So things like the Rusalka from Russian mythology and from a lot of Irish mythology has Rusalka in it as well, which are like
Hmm.
they are female spirits that hang around in or nearby bodies of water, and they
Ah,
appear
okay.
to be beautiful women, but actually they turn out to be monsters.
Hmm.
It's that kind of thing, you know.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if they do keep the mythological monster aspect of the ladies, or if they just kind of stick with just bird and snake theme, or if they
Bird and
kind of
snake thing.
expand. Yeah, do they expand from that? I don't know. Bird, snake, and normal lady. I don't know. It's good
Not
though.
sure.
It's a
I
nice
I
little
like
kit.
it. I think it's a really cool kit. Is
Yeah.
it enough really to sort of reinvigorate the Daughters of
No.
Cain? As I said,
No.
they need a bit more dedication. They need
Yeah.
a few. They need new units. You know, they need new stuff thrown at them. Really.
I do think it's funny on the image that shows off the book. You can see her, and then on the right hand side of her, there's the witch horses. But then
Yeah.
behind her on the left hand side, it's just cities of Sigma men and ladies. Just kind
Yes.
of, it's like,
Yes.
oh, I mean, it makes sense,
What's that
the
about?
allies. But still, it's weird to see it. It looks weird.
It's they've always sat in a very difficult place in
Yes.
the annals of order, haven't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
They're they're on that very edge, aren't they? They're like tipping towards chaos
It's like
to
I
the
don't.
point whereby like born out of chaos. Yeah.
I think it just look weird if you had like cities of Sigma allied with, and I know they can be, but allied with
Yeah.
Seraphon. Can you imagine just like
Yeah.
cities of Sigma men, and then you've got 3 Croxagors next to them?
Yeah.
It
It's
looks
weird.
weird. It looks weird. I mean, it
It
works. I
looks odd.
understand it, but you're like,
Yeah. You can do
don't know.
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a thing. It's a thing. They're
yeah,
both order armies. It's a thing. But weird. Yeah.
very.
But I like her. I like her, and I'll
But
probably get the book, to be
do you
honest.
think? Do you think the box that she comes in is a good set? Because I
Oh,
don't know if it is.
what's in it? What is in it?
Yeah, 5 of the horses. You get,
Oh.
and I think it's just 6 of the dancing ladies.
Oh, the witch
Witch elves.
elves.
Yeah,
Okay.
6 of them. So
Oh,
that's.
yes,
Oh
I've
no,
got
it's
it.
more than 6. It's 10. It's
Oh,
10
hang
witch
on.
elves.
Yeah, okay. It's not I mean, it's a starter set. It's very
Yeah.
much a starter set. You can't use that as an army. That ain't gonna
No,
work.
I'm
That
not.
ain't
I'm
gonna
not.
work.
It's only 16 minis, so it's not a lot. Even for a
No,
starter set, it's pretty
it's
small.
not. It's not a great amount. But,
No.
you know, if you have an existing army and you wanna bulk it out, I can see it being good for that.
Yeah, I think that's seems to be how it feels more so of an add-on, like you said, rather
Yeah,
than start collecting Daughters of
absolutely.
Cain box.
It doesn't function as an army, that doesn't.
No,
You're
no.
gonna get wiped out by most other armies, even, like, equivalent sized armies. Mm,
No, no. Good luck.
yeah,
Good luck.
best no luck with that. You know, it's kinda nice.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's all right.
what we on
Not for
next,
us.
Andy?
Sure. Next up is the Callies and Toll lead the survivors of
Oh,
Cinderfell.
yeah, so this is another, like, Age of Sigmar, thing, and these guys are from the same book, right?
As far as I'm aware, yeah.
insofar as I'm aware. And it's always lovely to see. I mean, it's what's really weird about the old world? There was loads and loads and loads of fiction about things like witch hunters and priests, but there were scant few miniatures ever produced for them. There were
Hmm.
some, but there were not many. And over the run of Fantasy Battle, there were hardly any. Hardly any. So it's lovely to see them. I mean, this main guy, he's fucking Bloodborne, isn't he? I mean, Jesus Christ, he's a hunter, isn't he? He's a
Yeah, it looks
hunter.
like it. Yeah.
He's a fucking
Well,
hunter.
to be fair, he just looks like a witch hunter. Like he just looks like a
Yeah.
vampire hunter, witch hunter, the generic
Yes.
look, but certainly
Yes.
works.
Yeah.
I think it's the fluffy side jowls that make me go
Mhm.
Bloodborne as well.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, he looks like
Away,
he's maybe
away.
imbibed in a little bit of the blood, right?
Yes, yeah.
He's well on his way. He's going a bit Father Gascoigne, maybe, yeah?
I can see.
Yeah.
Yes,
I mean,
actually, yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
he's well equipped as well, isn't he, to do his job? I mean, he's got not only has he got his sword and his pistol, he's also got stakes and things, so
Mhm.
he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, instead of having like a knife under the barrel of a gun, he's just got a stake under the barrel of a
Mhm.
gun. It's like, oh,
Mhm.
that's cute. Silly but cute.
Hannibal Toll. It's a good name. It's a good name. I like it, and I like his hat.
Is the reason why Fantasy Battle didn't really have these represented because you wouldn't really probably have a vampire hunter in an army, in a military force, unless you're going
Yeah,
after a vampire specifically, I suppose.
that might be it. Yes, that
Yeah,
might be it actually. But that said, I mean, there are army. They would have fit in certain types of army, that's for
yeah.
sure. And the
I
fact
think
they're in the background so much, but
I,
no,
th- I think it just
no.
works better with Age of Sigmar since Age of
It
Sigmar
does.
is more of a skirmishy. So it's like you
Yeah,
and 20 or 40 guys are going after something
mhm,
rather than a
absolutely.
10,000 man army and a witch hunter.
Aesthetically as well.
Yeah.
Aesthetically, it works better in Age of Sigmar. They
Mm.
when they did occur, these guys, they always stood out a little bit in, like, Empire armies. It just
Yeah.
is like,
Yeah.
"What are you doing?"
It
You know,
worked
"Where are you
perfectly in
from?"
Mordheim, though. He was super good in
Oh,
Mordheim. Just it
yes,
was like, yeah,
yes.
here we go.
And in
Yeah.
fact, that's the perfect setting. That's where you
Yeah.
found most of the miniatures for, like, these kinds of characters actually in Fantasy Battle. It was in the
Mm.
other game systems.
The fun
But no,
ones.
he's lovely. He's a lovely miniature actually,
Yeah.
like a great character miniature. He'd be lovely to paint.
What's the next guy? The guy with the two pistols? Is he just a
I
vampire? He doesn't
think
look like a vampire hunter.
no, I
Looks more
think
like a
that's
mercenary.
his aide. He's got like a hanger
Oh.
on, like a scythe.
Hanger on.
Yeah, Armand Callis, I think that is.
Is that who that
He
is?
is, and
Okay.
he's a Free Guild officer. He's an ex-Free Guild officer. They're from a
Ah.
book by all accounts, these guys. I haven't read it myself,
Mm-mm.
but they are from a novel. It's I like the sort of dual wielding pistol thing. What I like about
Yes.
this
Yeah.
guy is he looks like he's in a scenario, doesn't he? He's got
Yeah.
like a storytelling aspect to him, which I really like.
I like the fact that somehow they've made it look like the little pouch he has on the side has gold coins in it, just through the
Yeah,
highlighting.
that's
That's
quite
just highlighting. It's
quite
just
clever.
like I'm a really good painter. It's like I
Mhm.
know, I know.
In fact, someone's gone to town on the metal elements of this, haven't
They
they?
have, yeah, because that's
It's
not lead belcher.
no, that's a non-metal metal technique,
That's
and it's
yep.
really good. I mean, it's like, well done, right? Or well done.
You bastard.
I love, the lady with the rope.
She a thief?
I I don't know what she is, but I like her. If
Yeah,
you were playing D&D and you wanted a miniature for your thief,
that would be it.
I mean, gone,
Perfect.
right? Like,
Yeah.
it's so generic, like, the only problem with it, of course, is the big problem in D&D. Anyone who's like, any city officer or one who sees her wandering around is gonna be, "That's a thief, that is."
I don't know the if I just look at the head, it just makes me think of the box for Thief, the video game,
Yes, yeah,
which
absolutely.
was he just was a thief. She's just a thief.
Yeah,
There's no reason not to think.
she is going somewhere to burgle. There
There's
is
n-
no chance she's doing anything else, right?
she's out for charity work for herself.
I mean, I suppose, like, if she's got a cloak closed so you can't see all the gubbins and whatnot, she could be like, "Oh, I'm a nun or something. I'm a
Mm.
missionary. I'm helping the poor.
Yes,
I
yeah.
just happen to be the poor person that I'm helping," you know?
She's good. I think the next one's weird. The next one looks like a rogue trader.
She looks like she's from 40k, doesn't
She
she?
does a
She
little
looks
bit
like,
too much.
yeah, she looks like Navis Nobility or something, like a rogue trader, right? I mean,
Yeah.
anyone who wants to make a rogue trader for 40k, or even like you could use her as an inquisitor in 40k. She's
Oh
got
yeah,
that
that would
feeling
work.
about her. She's got that
Hmm.
feeling about her, that's for sure. I think she's great. I
I
I just love her.
I do think it is a good miniature. I think it's just a little bit too 40k rogue trader
It's
looking for the setting.
It is, and weirdly, it's like old school 40k. It
Yes.
looks
Yeah.
like the artwork from the original Rogue Trader book, that does.
If you
Like
took
the
away the half metal face, I
yeah,
think that would help.
yeah, I think
That's
it
all they
might.
needed to do.
Mhm.
I
But
like
I
the
love
big
the
weird
miniature.
cat.
Yeah, me too. It's a very big, weird cat, isn't it? But I like it. I like it very much.
I don't like the fact it looks like an Egyptian cat though, because I don't like
Oh,
Egyptian cats. It's like
no.
fondling a testicle. It's like, no, that's never
Yeah,
fun.
it
It's a
can't
pretty
be
cat.
a nice experience.
No.
I like to see through her hair. I think that's great. It's just a
Yeah.
lovely detail.
I wonder if that's an element to something because
I
a few
I
characters have keys on them. Because the guy
yeah.
with the vampire hunter has a key on the end of his sword.
Yeah, I think it's a thing. It's definitely a motif,
Oh
isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah. Because the Sigmar guy who we're going to talk about next has a key on his back and on his Griffhound as well.
Yeah, it's a thing. It is so a
Yeah,
thing. I haven't read the book, so I don't really know what's going on here,
Griff's
but it's
screaming at us,
obviously
because I bet he's
yeah,
read it.
I bet he's read it. I bet any money. I mean, for a Stormcast, again, he's very nice. He's very well characterized. I mean, he
Looks
looks
a bit
very
like Mr.
distinct.
Adam White, I'd say.
Does a little bit. Does a
A
little
little
bit.
bit, yeah.
I mean, I love the key on the back with the skeletons holding it. That's very
That's
nice.
very good. Yeah.
I like that a lot.
The shield's
Um,
really nice as well. It's not just a
yeah,
generic looking shield. It's nice and big. It's got a nice
it's
ornate
massive,
shape to
isn't
it.
it?
Yeah, it's huge.
Very thick as well. Like it looks like he's going to
Yeah.
take a hammer in, right?
Yeah, like no normal man is gonna pick that up. It's just a
No,
Stormcast
no.
shield. No one else can handle them.
Yeah, no, he's good. We've got lots of Stormcast heroes at the moment. Obviously, we're replete
Yes.
with them.
Yeah.
They're the Space Marine
Luckily, this
lieutenants,
is the
aren't
the
they?
redesigned
Yeah,
Sigma Stormcast rather than the
the ones
slightly
that look,
fatty ones.
the ones that look more like knights, right? Which,
Yes.
which I just love. I think it suits them so much better, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Because when I think Stormcast, I can't help but think of pre
Squads,
third
sort of thing.
edition.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they do look much better now, thankfully.
Yeah, oh god, they so do.
Excuse
Since
me.
the advent of Third Ed, when they redesigned them a little bit, yeah, they look a lot better. And I
A
like his
lot.
Griffhound as well. That's cool.
Yeah. I think we've seen better Griffhounds in all honesty, but
Yeah,
it's still
he's
okay.
it's another
fine.
animal in it. It's
Yeah.
another animal in it, and
Yeah,
people are
yeah.
gonna love it.
I think I like the cat more, the weird creepy ballsack
The
cat more than the
the
Griffhound.
weird cat, yeah,
Yeah,
that is
purely on the basis that we haven't seen a weird creepy cat. I actually see
mm.
one of the pictures. The cat has two tails, which is weird.
Oh, yeah, that's weird, isn't it? That is
Yeah,
weird.
it's
Oh, here's
got
the book as
blotches.
well. Oh, it's by David Annandale. Right. Oh, I like David Annandale. That's
Oh, you
probably
know
gonna be
him?
good. Yeah, that's
Okay.
probably gonna be good. That is probably gonna be a good book.
Hmm.
I wouldn't mind having a look at that.
And
But that's
clearly,
nice
these
stuff.
guys have something to do with the fifth book.
Yeah, apparently they feature quite heavily, which is nice. It's not, I like the fact that there is this cross-pollination now between the Black Library stuff and the stuff that's happening in the actual background. I
Yeah, it
think
makes
that's
the
really
books kind
cool.
of significant rather than just a
Yeah.
random story that's happening off in the distance. It ties into the greater narrative. That's good.
Mhm. I like it. I like it a
Yeah.
lot. It's a nice set. It's a nice set. Not, it's not my thing. It probably isn't for me, but I like it.
I would say this would be more my thing if this was going along with a game system like Cursed City or
Yeah,
Warhammer Quest or something like that. I think this
yeah,
would be a good, or if you could use these for Warcry, maybe there'll be
yeah.
rules for Warcry. That'd be quite nice.
That would be cool, wouldn't it? That
Yeah,
would be cool.
I think doing stuff like that might be more my kind of thing. But
Mhm.
I'd need to have the book to see if I'd really want them, kind of thing.
I
If I like
think
them.
the next one along is more your steez, isn't it?
What's up next? The next thing
What
up is Zendara's Gravebreakers.
Yes.
Bring love to the dead god. Yes, that's right. The problem with this set is though, George, it's Underworld, so it's
Ah,
boring.
oh no.
The minis are great though. The minis are super nice
Oh,
for this
I
set.
mean, zombies. Zombies are always great, aren't they? And it's
You
nice to see like new styles of zombie.
you know what this set is? Do you remember the last Undead Underworld set we got with the weird Dr. Frankenstein stuff?
Oh yes,
And
yeah.
it was kind of meh. This is what I thought it was going
It's
to be. This is
more
more
what you wanted, yeah.
yeah. Oddly enough, I think the hero reminds me a bit of oh god, what's his name? He was a shit Vampire Counts hero who nobody liked, who rode around on a zombie cart.
Oh god.
What's his
On a
name?
zombie cart.
Herman Gorst.
I
Herman
don't
Gorst. He
I
looks like Herman Gorst.
honestly don't remember that one.
You don't remember Herman Gorst? He's
Ah,
shit.
is it?
He's
Well,
shit.
maybe that's why, but
Yeah,
wow, no, I don't remember him.
I'm pretty sure it's Herman Gorst. Yeah,
When was
Herman
when was that from?
The only reason I know of Herman Gorst is because of he was the first DLC hero for Total War Warhammer.
Right,
I'll
okay.
find a picture of good old Herman and I'll throw it
Yeah, maybe I do
on
know
the
him, but I can't for the life of me I can't bring him to mind, you know?
yeah. So as I look for what do you
Yeah.
think of this set?
I like it. I mean, I like zombies anyway. You know, it's the horror. It's the you know the horror lover in me. I've got a mad thing for zombies, and I think it's nice seeing zombies that are a bit more AOS now because they heavily
Hmm.
redesigned them for Cursed City, didn't they? You know, they really like shunted zombies forward a little bit.
Right.
Um, they need to. I do want to see more of a zombie multi-part kit though. You know, where the miniatures aren't so prescribed, where you can tailor them a little bit more.
Yeah, yeah. I think that would be a bit more interesting.
Mhm. But no, they're good. They're really good. I love the werewolf.
Okay.
He's great.
I found the wiki that has a bit of Herman Gorst stuff. Herman Gorst is
Yeah.
one of the Empire's most infamous master necromancers. Herman
Right.
Gorst was once a man, yet the life was ripped from him by an uncaring fate. The loss of his father and brothers brothers to plague sent Gorst into obsessive madness. He began studying the black arts in hopes of returning his lost king to life. Inevitably, he drew the attention of the witch hunter Albrecht von Corden. Does that sound familiar?
Right. No, this is
Uh,
a story I don't actually know. This is from the old world, yeah?
yes, this is old world stuff.
Right, right. No, this is one I do not know.
It doesn't say on the wiki where he actually appeared, but it says he came from Tempelhof in Sylvania.
Ah, well, that makes sense. That absolutely makes sense.
I can't see any like I think Herman Gorst was mentioned in lore, but I don't think he ever got
Hmm.
like a
It never
real
got like a
mini. But I don't know for
right,
sure.
right.
It's just the look looks very similar to the mini from this little set here. It's a great
Right,
set.
really interesting. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. Are you know, would you get this one?
I just don't want to pay that much money for extra bits that
Yeah,
I don't
uh,
care about. But it's got a really
yeah,
cute bird as well. He's got a cute
yeah.
bird.
He does. He does. And he's got. I mean, you know, he's also got the big dog, which is nice.
Oops.
Although it's not necessarily a big dog, is it? I mean, what I
I
love
don't know
about the
what
werewolf
is it.
is
A
you can see
werewolf
that
man?
it's like a. It's a man. I mean, that's
Yeah.
something I really like. You can see that it is a werewolf, a proper werewolf, right? It's
Hmm.
got elements of the man about it, which I really really like.
I kind of like if someone painted it up to look more like the original werewolf man. That'd be
No, the
quite
Wolfman,
fun.
like
The Wolfman, sorry,
the
yes.
universal one, yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be quite
Yeah,
nice. Even though he was
that
in
is
black and white, if you called him like brown and furry, which I think he was
mm,
originally looking like.
yep. Yeah,
Uh,
that'd be cool.
it's interesting. Like a lot of the zombies have mutations to them as well.
Yeah,
Like
that's very
the
interesting,
bones
isn't
are
it?
bursting out of their body. So I'm guessing this is not
Yeah.
the best necromancer, or he's doing some weird experiments on
But,
these bodies to
yeah.
make them slightly more deranged than your usual kind of
I
raised
like
undead.
the idea that the reason they're so warped is because he's a shit necromancer. He's just not very good at it.
It's probably not his shit, but I think it's a funny idea that he might just be crap at
Mm.
what he's doing. He's like,
I
whatever.
like the idea that it's maybe like a reanimator thing going on here, you know, like the
Yeah,
necromantic
yeah.
energy is like making each of the bits independent, so they're
Oh, that'd be
all
fun.
individually alive, you know, that's kind of fun.
Yeah, I feel bad for the zombie with the shovel. He looks like he's having a really
He's
hard
having
time.
He looks like he's having a rough time of it because he's using
Yeah.
the shovel because his spine is, like, bursting through. He's using the shovel to walk along like a walking stick, isn't he? He
And he's
can't
got
hold
that
himself
face where
upright.
it's like, it's the face of you don't have any coffee and it's 6 in the
Yeah,
morning. It's like,
he's had enough,
he's
right?
had a day.
It's a bad day, and he's had enough.
Yeah, it is a tempting set, but like I said, it's one of those. But then I have
Mhm.
to get a load of cards which are thrown in the bin kind of
Yes,
deal.
which is a problem, right?
And it has been a while since I think they've actually released any Underworlds things without the
Yeah.
cards. I mentioned to
Right.
you and Gruff in chat, like when the Graveguard set was released, that was like
Mm.
2022 October, and we haven't had a single release for them,
Wow. That
which
was
is
a
a long
while back
time.
as well. Yeah,
Yeah, and those
Jesus.
were really good looking too.
Yeah, they're nice. They're
And
really nice.
I don't think they've done the Heat Knights. You know the Heat Knights of Slash that came in the
Mm,
Diachasm box with the Lumineth?
yeah,
I don't think either of those kits came out individually either.
they haven't because I'd have got that by
Yeah.
now.
Yeah,
I've
I
definitely
think
got
at one point they did release them individually because I remember you could buy the Skeleton Crew
that. Mm,
at one point without the cards. I think they stopped doing it.
right, that's a
I
shame. That's a
think.
real shame.
I'm assuming if someone in chat or on the boards, whoever listens
Mm.
to this, can let me know if that's right or wrong. I'd be interested to know because I think they have
Yeah.
stopped.
Right, that's a real shame because there's some good
Yeah,
stuff. I'd like those Slanesh miniatures. I just
they're
want.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, give me the
If if I
the fat
strip
demon
them,
any
if
day.
I strip them, would you like them, George? I'll bio strip them and I can give them to you.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, okay. I'll sort that
yeah,
out.
I'm up for that.
Yeah, I'll bio strip them just so you can paint them up how you like. I'll
Oh
do.
my god.
I'll do because they're not going to do it individually, and then you'd need to get the Lumineth
Oh
as well. So it's like whatever.
yeah, which is a bit.
Well, so yeah,
Right.
when I get you some Death Guard as well, that'll
Oh,
be easier.
I'm up for it.
Easy.
Totally up for it. What are we
Next
on
up,
next?
is the weird solar auxiliary returns to the
Yes.
Age of Darkness, which I didn't see coming.
I mean, these are really nice, aren't they? I mean, I am not really one for the Astra Militaria and the Imperial Guard and whatnot. I really like what they've done with these guys. They've got that. They do really look like older iterations of Imperial troopers.
But more advanced. They look
Yeah,
better,
well,
like a
that
lot
makes
better.
sense. That actually makes sense because, of course, the technology back then was better
Yeah.
in
I
the
think
40K universe.
my issue with them is they look a little bit too much like Imperial Guard, and I'd like them to look a little bit different. But if they're meant to look like Imperial Guard, which, like you
Yep,
say, they're probably meant to,
yep. It kind of works, doesn't it? It does
yeah,
kind of work, and I think they're really interesting. They've got a very distinct look about them. I would not be surprised to see that set turning up in like 40K Astra Militaria armies. I would not be surprised at all.
is it crazy to
Uh,
think that some of them look a little bit like the Big Daddy 2s or Big Daddy 1s from Bioshock 2?
there's an element of
A
that.
little bit, yeah.
Yeah, there's an element of that floating around here. I like them all. I really like the way they've got these like armored exoskeletons over their uniforms. I think that's
Yeah.
really interesting.
I'm kind of
And
tempted
that,
to pick them up myself for my Imperial Guard, to be
yeah,
honest.
I think they'd look really good in an Imperial Guard army, to be honest. I
Mm,
mean, I like that. I mean, there's a lot of Roman influence in the Imperium anyway, and they've got that going down like heavily, heavily, and I like it. It really, really works.
yeah. Yeah, I think I might get rid of the little head brush. I've never
Yeah,
been a
not a
big
fan
fan
of
of the head brush. No, but I do think it is a good looking thing, and you could use these as I'm not sure if it's cheaper to get these or it would be cheap. It probably would be cheaper to get these than do the Cassicans, and you could probably
Mhm,
just say, well,
mhm.
these have more advanced technology. They could be Cassicans. That'll be good
Yeah,
enough for
why not?
me.
Go for it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. They would work brilliantly as stand-ins.
Yeah, and the command squad again looks
Oh,
pretty neat.
wow.
I
I mean,
think the standard bearer is not as good as the
mm,
Imperial Guard one because the Imperial Guard one has a really big flag. This one just has
yeah,
like you said,
a
a Roman
little,
standard, which is like
yeah.
it's fine. It's not bad.
Mhm. But the other
Uh,
guys, I mean, like the sergeant guy, the captain or whatever he is, he's awesome.
yeah,
He's really good.
he's got a bit of a horseshoe going on him, bless him, but he
Mhm.
looks good.
He looks like a character model, doesn't he? Like a proper character model. He's
Mm.
really beautiful. I love his sword.
These are plastic, right? They are. They are. They're definitely plastic.
These are plastic, yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
That's
right.
right, yeah, because I remember people saying that the really impressive thing is what's the tank called? It's not the Malcador tank, is it, that they've done
Is it
here?
Malcador, this one? Dracosan, apparently this is.
Drakasan. What's the other
Yeah.
one?
The other one is no, I think it is. I think you're right. It's the Malcador, the big one.
And I'm pretty sure this is the first time you can get, if it is the Malcador, I think this is the only time you can get the Malcador not in resin. And it was a Forge
Right.
World kit, I think. And I think I remember hearing that that's obviously a big deal because it's not Forge World.
Oh
It's not
no,
resin Forge World.
it's
Right?
actually the precursor to the Lehman Russ. It's the
Oh,
Lehman
okay.
Russ, that is. It's
Oh,
the
even
old
better.
Lehman Russ. It's like the original Lehman Russ before, like, it became degenerated down the centuries and they forgot how to make them properly.
Yeah, because this kind of does look a little bit better than the Lehman Russ. And it's
Well,
a new,
yeah.
to be fair, it's a newer kit as well, which helps. So
And yes,
that looks
and,
cool.
it's also the fact that, like, in the 40K timeline, technology doesn't get better, it degrades for the most part, certainly in the Imperium.
And they just can't produce it at like higher quality
Yeah,
either. It's
they
just not
can't, yeah.
feasible.
Yeah, it's just not feasible anymore. But the
No,
tanks they're really detailed, aren't they? Like, for
very.
Imperial Guard tanks, there's loads going on here.
Yeah. Well, I think you say for Imperial Guard tanks, and I think it's just because like that Lehman Russ that we still have is an old kit at this point. Or
Yes,
pretty old.
that's right. That's right.
Comparing it to I think it's probably more fair to compare it to the Rogel Dawn. And
Yeah.
yeah, even then, this is
There's
still
still
pretty.
more.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
still a lot more going on here, isn't there?
Yeah,
Um,
it's pretty fancy. I don't
yeah.
like the Scout though. I don't like the
Oh,
Scout as
the
much.
big sort of proto scout that looks
Yes.
that looks like almost like a dreadnought, doesn't it? It's so big
Oh,
and heavy and
that's
what I
not what I was
do
gonna say. I was gonna say it
no?
looks like a refrigerator with legs.
It does. It looks The one thing I do like about it is looking at it, you can see how it moves. You can see
Yeah.
how it's crap as a scout. It's utter shite as a scout, this thing, because it's gonna be, like, really heavy and
Yep.
lump along and make loads of noise, isn't it? This is not fast, right?
There's no way that this doesn't fall over frequently in
Right.
combat. No
Yeah,
way.
absolutely the case. And but I love the way they've designed it so that you can see how it moves. You can see, like,
Mhm.
how the hydraulics work and everything.
Yeah.
It's not a scout vehicle,
You know
right?
how it moves? It moves like Ed 209.
Yes, that's
Exactly as awkward
yes.
and wimpy as that, where it goes, ooh.
Yeah, yeah, exactly that. What they should have done with it, there should be loads of like Imperial Guard handlers around it that have to get it back up
Like a
after it falls over.
forklift. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That'd be great. I'd be down with that. Yeah, it is unfortunate that this is there's more advanced Imperial Guards as well. Oh no.
Mhm,
I didn't even
mhm.
see that these ones down here. These are the ones that
Oh,
look like
yeah.
the big daddies. The ones
Oh,
that have
yeah.
even more armor.
These are I mean, these are the heavier ones, aren't they? The ones with the
These are
big
the
guns.
Kassakin,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah,
But just with
basic.
what are those guns called again? Are those
Well, these ones,
volcano
I don't
guns?
know
I
what
can't
the hell
remember.
these are that these guys have got.
I know
Uh,
that like some Imperial, like you can have special Horus Heresy guys with this special
mm.
weapon on them as well. I just can't remember what they're called.
Yes, they're much more specialized, aren't they, in the
Yeah,
Horus Heresy? The Space Marines are the same. They've all got, like, different weapons and things.
yeah, it's like
Um,
I think it's a volcano
like
gun or something like
Volkite
that.
guns and
It
shit
might be
like that.
Volkite.
Is it
Yeah,
Volkite? Yeah, or the
yeah,
stuff
good
the
enough.
Imperium, like, can't make anymore, basically.
Yeah,
They only exist in, like, the Adeptus Mechanicum, and even then in, like, really degraded forms.
pretty much.
But
Fuck, I didn't want
I
to
like
buy
the sort
this.
of the faceless motif these guys have got. It makes them look a bit sinister and a bit weird. I kinda like it.
I'm hoping that those are just on ball joints and you can just swap
Mm.
them out for Imperial Guard heads. I'm
That's
hoping. I can't see why they wouldn't have made them like that, but
No, it would make sense to do that, wouldn't it? It'd make
yeah,
loads of sense to do that.
I was really on board with not buying any of these, George, and I feel like
Mm.
talking to
Oh,
you
dear.
today.
Oh,
I'm
no.
kind of changed around on it, unfortunately.
Ah.
You fuck.
Oh, dear. And, like, more tanks as well. Bloody hell, there's loads of them.
Yeah,
Like the Leman Russ assault tank you've got down here, which has got, like, a demolisher cannon, which is
I is
insane.
I'm pretty sure that'll just be like the standard Lehman Russ, right? It looks like it's the same
Pretty
body,
much.
and you just change the turret
I
part,
think
whatever
so.
you call that
I think
round.
so. But wow, and the Malcador beneath it. You've
That's
got
the
the
Malcador.
Malcador
Yeah,
actually.
that's a fancy
The
tank.
really big cannon, like the
Yeah,
really big cannon.
and a lot of different options it seems as well.
Yeah, the sponsons and things. There's loads of different things you can do with it.
Yeah, it's like
So
a
cute.
heavy lasgun, flamer, a normal looking lasgun. I
Mhm.
don't know what the other one is. Twin
Autocannon maybe?
las. Might be an
Dunno.
autocannon, yeah.
Could be an autocannon. Dunno.
What's the
But they're
pictures on the right-hand side? Are they the front guns? Where it's got the
yes, I
really,
think
really, really
yes.
big fat cannon.
Oh, is that the rear? No, that's gotta be the front, surely.
Yeah, I don't think it's the I don't think it's
I
the
don't
rear.
know.
I don't know.
I can't quite tell what that is, but it's cool.
I
I mean, it's
think
got
that's the front gun, but it's
yes,
hard to tell.
I think so. I think that's the
Yeah.
front. But wow, I mean, it's so adaptable, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nice
And
kit.
this one's
Nice.
definitely was a fine well, not fine cast, but
Yeah.
expensive Forge World one, so now people can
Big.
get it cheaper,
And
which is
now
great.
people can get it for cheap.
Interesting to have the guy on the top looking at a computer. You don't usually get
Yeah.
that for tank commanders. They're usually just like
Yeah.
pointing their sword aggressively.
Yeah. He's actually doing something useful, maybe.
Yes. Yeah. So I like that. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, these are
No,
good. Yeah, I like them.
it's a nice set. It's a nice set, and as I say, I think it's gonna double up quite nicely. I think you're gonna get a lot of people who've got Astra Militaria armies going for this.
Yeah, well, he is one of them potentially.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if the preview box is like it's 28 models. It's
Mhm,
it looks like it's like one group of Imperial Guard, two
mhm,
big tanks, a command squad, and then the weird crappy Sentinel. It's like,
mhm.
it might be
Yeah.
all right to
Oh,
get.
well. Yeah, it's kinda nice. I
Might
mean,
be
you
all
can
right to
do
get.
and of course, you could maybe do something else with a weird crappy Sentinel.
Yeah, I mean,
Put it together
frickin'
in a different way, maybe.
hopefully,
Make it less
yeah,
crappy.
less refrigerator mode. Yeah, hopefully. What's the big boxy tank? I didn't really read what the big boxy tank was meant to be. Is it
I think
transport?
it's a different Lehman Russ.
Oh,
I think it's like
no,
a
I'm an
variation.
idiot. I just didn't read it. It says to safely ferry infantry around the
Ah,
battlefield, the solar
see,
auxiliary use the Dracona's armored tank
Dracosian, is it, or something?
Dracosian. Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
basically it's a chimera, isn't it?
Right,
Chimera?
yeah. It's like the precursor maybe to the Chimera tank, something
Yeah, is
like
it?
that.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah, chimera. I was getting mixed up with Hellhound and chimera. So
Mhm.
yeah, this is like you
Yeah.
say, a better. Yeah, it's better than a chimera because it's got better guns on it. Chimera
Mhm.
has one crap gun and that's it.
That's true. That's
This
true.
has missiles and a big gun. Yeah, okay, well, fair
Yeah.
enough. Yeah.
It's the 30K, isn't it? You know, it's a
Yeah.
better time for the Imperium, apparently.
Well, also a worse time.
And also, in many
Yeah.
ways, much worse. Much, much worse.
Now, I think the next thing is very much a George thing,
Yeah, I think
which
it
you
probably
almost forgot. We
is.
almost didn't cover it this
We
week.
almost didn't cover it,
Almost.
yeah. I mean, I don't know why, it didn't occur to me, you know? But yeah, the Dark Angels, the new
They're
Dark
here?
Angel stuff, is that
Yeah.
what we're going for? Yeah? Oh, man, I mean, a soft spot, huge soft spot for the Dark Angels. They are my favorite loyalist chapter. I mean, I don't it's a joke, it is a joke, but the background is deliberately written to make them be one of those chapters that's right on the edge.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, they're not even technically that loyal. They've done crap in the background that's officially in the background that most other chapters would have been declared like heretic for, you know? So, yeah, they follow their own agenda, and that's part of what's fun about them.
Yeah.
That's part of what makes them appealing is the fact they've got their own ideology, their own sort of like subculture, their own secrets, and their own agenda that they follow. I like that a lot, and
The
I
other
like
legions have to
Adam
be really annoyed for the fact that they can get away with it, right?
exactly that.
You get away with it, but we can't. Come on.
It's why the Space Wolves hate them so much. That and the fact that, like, you know, their Primarchs fought at one point. That was also a thing.
Oh, who won? Do we not know? Do we know?
Um, there is a story of Lionel Johnson and Lehman Russ throwing down,
Mm.
and one of them punches the other out. I think it's Lionel Johnson. He punches Lehman
Ooh,
Russ out,
good.
and by the
Good.
time he comes round, they've gone. He doesn't even hang around. He's like, "Done with that. Come on." And they hate one another. They absolutely hate one another. The only people the Space Wolves hate more than the Dark Angels are the
Yeah,
Thousand Sons.
Thousand Suns. Yeah.
And even that is kind of like, oh, well, recently the Dark Angels did help to bomb the shit out of Fenris. So,
Oh, did they? They
yeah,
bombed. Okay.
during the
Why
Wrath
not?
of Magnus, yeah. They decided that because of things like the Wolfen and whatnot, that the Space Wolves were full blown heretic and decided, right, bomb the shit out of Fenris. They stopped when they
Yeah.
realized the Thousand Sons were involved, but they didn't hang around to help or anything.
We made a mistake. No, well, you can sort it
Yeah,
out. You're fine.
yeah. It was exactly that. It was exactly that.
Oh,
Them and
man.
the Space Wolves, there is a potential future scenario where they really come to blows. And I think the
Oh.
fact that the Lion is back, that might do it.
Mm.
I can't see the Space Wolves being very happy about that at all.
We want our dad back too.
Yes, exactly that.
Yeah.
Exactly that. And also they just don't like him.
No.
He's like in their sagas, he's a bad guy. He's like he is almost equivalent to Magnus in their sagas and their histories. They do not like the Dark Angels, and they have sincere suspicions about them. They're getting closer to sort of uncovering what they're up to.
That's what happens when you have Charles Dance as a leader.
Exactly that.
He looks like him. I'm just
He
saying.
does look like Charles Dance. He does. You're
Yeah.
absolutely right. But my God, I mean, like Adam, I'm partial to the Deathwing. I really like the idea of a full Terminator, dedicated Terminator army. And wow, I mean, just wonderful. I mean, these updated Deathwing Terminators are beautiful. They are absolutely beautiful. I like the fact that they've kind of from the last iteration of the Deathwing miniatures, they've toned them down a little bit and made them more in line with what Terminators are meant to look like, and I like that a lot.
I'm guessing you mean the standard Terminator rather
Yes.
than the Terminator with the sword and the shield,
Well,
which are very, very
even
Deathwing.
the knights, the Deathwing knights, which are the ones with the robes and the shields and whatnot, they are a bit more. They're not as overblown as the last lot. They look a
Okay.
bit more coherent than the last lot,
Right.
and they're gorgeous. I mean, I love the slightly redesigned helmets to make them look a bit more knightish.
Yeah.
I think that's brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and I love the hood equivalents as well. They are absolutely beautiful Terminator minis, and the stuff these guys can do, they are evil. They
Is
are
this the
absolutely
mace and the power
evil.
weapons that you're looking at?
Well, it's the mace and the power weapon, but since this article, we've learned a little bit more about them and like what
Oh,
they can do.
right.
They are toughness. They're toughness 5, I think. No, they're toughness 6, if I remember correctly. Toughness 6 Terminators with 4 wounds, and they also inflict -1 damage against
Mm.
anything that's coming in. So they are badass. They're hard to kill.
Yeah.
Like, really bloody hard to kill. The only thing is because they're so tough and they dish out so much damage, you can only get them in units of 5.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Makes sense.
That
It
makes
makes
sense.
sense. Some
Yeah.
Dark Angels players are not happy about it. You can't have units of 10 of these. It
Are
would be silly.
are people not happy because they want units of 10 or because they're so powerful they want units of
I
10?
I think that might be it. I think it's more the latter
Okay.
one, to be honest.
Because,
Because
a team of 10 looks cooler than a team of
it loo
5, but if
it
it
does
breaks the
look great,
game,
but
you
it
know.
would break the game. You would
Yeah.
spend so much time trying to destroy these guys, it would be silly. So, I get it,
Sure.
I
Yeah.
absolutely get it. And you get the lovely little Watcher in the Dark with them as well, that's lovely.
Yes, another one.
I mean, we always like a new Watcher in the Dark,
Mhm.
obviously. So that I mean, yeah, they're great. They're absolutely wonderful. I don't collect Dark Angels as such, but ooh, I could really go and do like a Dark Angel successor chapter on the basis of these guys, a completely Terminator force.
Are you gonna buy the preview box, do you think?
Wow,
If it's available.
if I can ever get a
Yeah.
hold of it, yeah, that'd be nice.
Do we know what's in the box? Is it just like 20? Is it just 10 Terminators? What's in the box? I can't remember
I'm not
offhand.
entirely sure. You get these guys. You get the knights in it. I know you get units of both the knights and the regular Deathwing Terminators. I don't know who else is in it, what
I can't
characters are
remember.
in it, or anything like that. You get the new codex in it, which is nice. Obviously, I'm looking forward to that very much.
Well, let's click on the
Um,
preview box. That'll be a good idea.
mm,
You get a Lord. Yeah, you get like
Belial. You get Belial in it,
yeah, you
don't you?
get
You get
Belial.
the new version of Belial, which is really cool.
Yeah,
Obviously, he's one of those characters. You join him to one of these units, and he like gives them all sorts of buffs and abilities and whatnot, which is great.
Belial and 15 Terminators. So it's not
Mm,
big box, but it's
but it
a
doesn't need to
it's a
be.
big box as well
It's
at the same time.
respectable. It's
Yeah,
respectable. As a force, I mean, that's respectable. 15
yeah.
Terminators, I mean, Jesus.
I was gonna
In
say
10th
this is
Ed?
gonna be most combat patrols, I would
Yeah,
imagine.
with 10th Ed. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, Terminators are king in 10th Ed. Every version of Terminators is insane in
Mm.
10th Ed. They're all really good. But they're meant to be. Terminators are
Yeah.
supposed to be like that, so, like,
Yeah.
it's fine. And these guys in particular, I mean, as Imperial Terminators go, these are the only better ones are the one like the Custodes equivalents or
Sure.
maybe the Grey Knights equivalents, you know? So it's great. It's nice to see.
Good luck
What are we
getting
on to
them.
next,
Yeah.
Andy?
It's Old World time, baby. It's
Oh
the Old
God,
World
wow.
Almanac, the Orcs and Goblins tribes.
Yeah, wow. I mean, this is going right back, isn't it? There's some old miniatures in some of these pictures, I can tell you.
Oh boy, yeah.
Yeah, wow. Those old regiments and things, Jesus.
They even
I don't
showed the
miss
swamp
personally.
the swamp hag with her nipples all flopping
Oh,
about.
yes. I mean,
You wouldn't get
personally,
away with that now.
I don't miss this.
What the hag?
Pers no, the regiments.
Oh, okay.
Personally, I don't miss that. It's just not my thing. I love the fact that people like, are enjoying it and that people do like it and whatnot, but it's not for me.
That's fine. That's okay. The thing here is the battalion box, which they've shown
Mm,
off, which is 73 plastic miniatures of very old kits, two
yeah.
boar chariots, 31 orc boys,
God.
including champion, musician, and standard bearer, and 40 goblins with
I
a
mean,
command upgrade of their own.
I say I don't like it, but I'm looking at the boars on these chariots and it is taking me back. It is. It really is. Um, and
It's
you've got
actually
your
fairly.
arcane. Say
Sorry, go
again?
ahead. No,
No, no, no. Go on.
I was gonna say it. Someone put up a side by side of this and a previous. I think the similar edition
Mhm.
war battalion that they had for years ago, and it's fairly
Yeah.
equivalent, not one to
Pretty
one, but
similar, yeah.
yeah, they had more
I
ball
mean,
boys and no chariots. I
yeah.
think that was the main difference.
I mean, I'm thinking in terms of like the last few editions of Fantasy Battle, and this is respectable.
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
very respectable, actually. This is like if you saw a battle report in White Dwarf, this is pretty much what it would look like. It'd maybe have a few more character models,
yes.
um, but that's about it.
It's not as outright amazing looking visually as say the Bretonians box set or the Tomb Kings box set, but I would imagine it's going to be cheaper than those. It would have to be.
I would assume. Well, it doesn't have as many of the bigger units in it, does it? It
Yeah,
doesn't have like mounted units or anything like that. So I
no.
would assume it is going to be cheaper. There's
It's
some nice
it's still for
new
me going to be
miniatures.
too expensive for what I think at the
Yeah,
very
it's
least,
it's
but
not
that's a
for me.
different matter.
It is just for me, it's not for me.
No.
I'm very happy that it's there and that it's it's fulfilling that requirement. The people who miss the old world, who miss Warhammer, and who want like an official way of playing it. I like that, and it's nice to have the old miniatures back in
Mm.
circulation. That's kind of fun too. But it's not. It's just not my steez. I prefer AOS.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
massively prefer AOS to Fantasy Battle.
Mm.
Um, the new miniatures are nice. I like the new
Yeah.
miniatures a lot. That or like Warlord, the boss, he's the perfect mix of new and old. He
I
looks
wonder
so
how
good.
he does scale wise. Is he as
Yeah,
big or is he in scale with AOS orcs or
I
is he in
can't
scale
imagine
with
he can't possibly be in
no.
scale with AOS orcs because they're too big.
That's the thing, yeah. So he'd look
They're
unfortunately
way
a little
too
bit
big.
small compared to
Mhm.
them. But he
He
looks
will be.
really good, which is a
He
shame.
does. He looks like the better the better end of the spectrum of miniatures from that era, doesn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
Which is kinda nice, and I love the shaman guy, I think he's really cool.
Yeah,
He's He's more AOS, isn't he? He's got more character about him.
Wearing a hag for a hat. Is it a hag?
Yeah, it's a troll. It's a river
It's a
troll.
troll? Oh, it's a
Yeah.
river troll. Of course it is.
It's a
Yeah, I
river
like
troll
that.
hide that he's got, which is really cute. I like that.
And a crab
Oh
claw.
my
We all
yeah, the
remember the
crab
crabs.
claw.
Yep.
I
I
mean,
actually like the goblins in the cauldron as well. That's quite fun. Like
that's
friend.
cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Oh god, like just cycling through the old miniatures down here, the Black Orc, the regiment with the armor and everything. God, that does take me back.
Let's see the black orc. Oh yeah, yeah. I
Wow.
kind of like seeing the standard orc unit. It does remind me a lot of the 40k orc as well,
Yeah,
because they all had that really hunched look to
hunched.
them.
Yeah, very much so. It
The only
does look
difference was
like
they had guns. That was it.
yeah, that was pretty much it. You could mix and match them really easily. I mean,
Easily.
really damn easily.
What are the ones where they've all got the weapons above their heads? What are those orcs?
Oh, the ones with the armor.
A little bit of armor, not the black orcs, but
Oh,
it's
right,
got like
hang
a
on.
pig mask in the front, and literally all of them have one pose where they've all got like a weapon held in the
Oh,
air.
those guys. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not
Are that
entirely sure what those guys are.
What's it say? It says orc bosses, orc mobs, orc boys,
Is it just the
mob boys,
standard Orc
orc
Boys mob,
boys.
yeah?
Yeah, I guess they're just orc
I think it's
boys,
just the
and
boys mob,
the other one's orc boys mob, which I'm not sure
yeah. Right.
what the difference is, to be honest. I thought there would be odd ones or something, but I guess not.
Uh-huh.
Huh.
I think they're just it's the same unit with different, weaponry, I think. I think that's
Yeah,
what
I guess.
I'd
I don't
assume
know.
that's what it is.
I like the fact that the chariot boars don't look as good as the boars.
Well, no, that's because it's a much older kit. It's a much older kit than the those chariots, they are ancient.
Really?
They are ancient. Those, I believe, they may have been metal
Oh, okay.
when they were originally
Oh,
released.
well, yeah, most chariots were, won't they?
Mhm.
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
the boars look more like hamsters than they do
yeah.
pigs.
Those are
Quite cute.
definitely the older school, boar sculpts. That's the type of boar that was in Fantasy Battle and in 40K actually, because the orcs in 40K had boars back then.
Oh, of course.
That's the style that was
Mm.
around at the time, you know?
Okay, Abe
Very
Simpson.
yeah. Which was the style at the
At the
time.
time.
Yeah. God, but these are they are some old miniatures, aren't they? And it's interesting to see. It's really odd to see. It's when they start doing the Chaos Warrior stuff that's gonna get me. Because
I'm gonna be
that is
interested.
wow.
Because they could do the really boring thing, because you remember how they had the Chaos Warriors for the longest time for AOS when they were just the rank and file models.
Mhm.
They just put them on
Yeah,
round bases. I hope they're
yeah,
not those models, because they could easily be, to be honest.
yeah, I think they might be,
They probably will be.
unfortunately.
And they're not
I
as
think
good as they're not as good as the first multi-part kit of Chaos
oh,
Warriors where
the
they're hunched.
hunched
Yeah,
ones,
they're
yeah.
better. They're more fun. What do you think of the resin returners then? Because I think the banner orc
Mm.
looks really good. That's a really
Doesn't
good
he
banner
look
from the
good?
time.
He
Yeah,
he looks kind of AOS, doesn't he? He looks like he could
yeah,
fit.
yeah, definitely.
And I love the goblins. I think the
What is
goblins
the goblin
are
on
great.
the right? Is that a
I
shaman?
You know what? I do not know. I don't remember that miniature. I do not. That must be more recent because sculpting that is, the means to sculpt that wasn't around towards the end of Fantasy Battle. That
No.
looks like an early AOS miniature or something,
You think so? Is
or
it not
very
just?
late,
Do you not think it's
very
just
late.
one random Forge World ones? Because they actually did Forge World
Could
stuff for the orcs and the goblins for
uh,
some reason.
it could be that. It
Maybe
could be
that's
that.
it.
I don't know, but it's unusual to see miniatures like that in Fantasy Battle.
Hmm.
Oh my
Oh,
god! And there's even like the Orc Warlord on the Wyvern.
that's not the Wyvern I remember. I remember the
No.
Wyvern looking more like the Snake Dragon. That was
Mhm,
my
mhm.
one. Well, not
But
mine, but the one I remember more.
that is old. That is really old. Originally, that was a metal body with plastic wings.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
At least
many
it wasn't
moons ago.
metal wings, because that was always a problem with when you had metal wings
No,
on things.
no, those dragon wings, they were ubiquitous. Those are the same wings that were with every dragon kit. Every dragon kit from the era. And oh god, the rock lobber as well. Jeez. Some of these are proper old, I'm telling you. These trolls might be the oldest miniatures on this page.
Oh! See, I'd be tempted to get those trolls. Because
They
those
might
are
be,
the trolls.
yeah, they're the old river trolls.
They are, yeah. These are the trolls
My
that you saw
god.
in the Warhammer. In the
Yeah,
White Dwarfs. It
yeah,
was this troll.
mhm. It
I
was.
The best troll design.
They could do
I
some
like
fun
them.
things as well. They were very hard to kill because they regenerated, their wounds.
Yes.
Very difficult to kill, and they vomited on their enemies as well, which is
Yeah.
fun. Kinda fun.
So some interesting ones coming back, I
Yeah,
suppose.
it's been nice to, I mean, as I say, it's not my thing, but it has twinged a nice bit of nostalgia.
Hmm.
I will say that.
Oh, what are the things in front of the trolls? I don't recognize them.
Oh, hang on, let
They
me just have,
snotlings? Is that what they're meant to be?
could be snotlings. Let's have a look. Hang on. Bleh. Yeah, those are snotlings. Those are in
Right.
fact, oh, those are old. Those snotlings are really old. Jeez. I'm not sure what's older, the trolls or the snotlings.
Because I don't think I've ever seen those snotlings before. I think
No,
snotlings were way out before I was even in.
snotlings were really old, and they kind of went away.
They just
They weren't,
migrated over to 40K, really, didn't they?
yeah, they weren't really featured in Fantasy Battle Orc armies that much back
Hmm.
then. So that's really interesting.
Ah, okay. I'm glad I asked because
Hmm,
I didn't know what they were.
very
Uh,
cool, very
shall I tell
cool.
you what's next?
Yeah, what we got?
Is it Necromunda stuff?
I think it's Necromunda, yeah.
It's Necromunda stuff. It's oh my god, they're still doing
Wow.
Necromunda stuff.
They're
I'm shocked.
still doing it, and I'm really happy about the fact. And I like how understated this miniature is. There's something very still and poised about it that I
Hmm.
really, really like. I mean, you could double this up as an Imperial Assassin, couldn't you?
Or just an AOS mini, really.
Oh, just an AOS mini, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
just get rid
not
of the
out
pipes.
of bounds, is it? Really?
No, that's nice.
It's really nice. It's really, in fact, you could even use it as like a Dark Elder Archon or something like that. It would work okay for that.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
It's got a real nice design to it. Is it meant to be like a character, or is it just like
Yeah, her name is Yagaloth, which is a very, by the way, it's a very Lovecraftian name.
very?
That sounds like a creature from H.P. Lovecraft, that does. And she's a psyker of some description, so that's a force sword
Ah.
she's got.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Mm, very, very nice. She's got a lovely mini. Lovely mini. And the more you look at it, like, the pictures that show you it from the back and from the sides, there's a lot going on here. It's a really
Hmm.
nice piece of work.
And like I say, just still surprising that Necromunda
Yeah,
is still being, even if it is just like a drip here and there, it's still got things coming for it.
it's great. And in fact, I like the fact that they're still adding into the lore as well. There's still new stuff happening. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a broad church now, isn't it? If you want to get into Necromunda, you kind of need a guide now. There's
Yeah.
so many like factions and books and characters. I love that. I love how rich it's become because of the support around it.
Mm. Yeah. And it's still going, which is
Yeah, it's
great.
very
But
nice.
but I guess it's also nice that it's not overshadowing or like consuming too much of like the other releases because it's already kind of had
Absolutely.
its time. It's got everything out it needs. It's just like a little
Yep,
bit here and a little bit there to add some spice now and again, I guess.
absolutely that.
Yeah.
Absolutely that.
Uh,
Lovely
af-
stuff.
After that, it's The End and the Death Volume 3 Special
Yeah.
Edition is returning to
Now,
sales.
the reason they're doing this, obviously, is because the outcry against the fucking scalpers getting pretty much every copy of the damn thing
Yeah.
was huge. It
Yes.
was huge. So they're reprinting it. It was a very quick as well. I mean, I'm surprised they moved this quickly because this was obviously not part of the plan, right?
No.
They were not going to be doing this. But as per usual, scalpers got most of the original
I
release, and
heard
nobody.
that GW cancelled some of the orders as well, is what I heard.
Okay,
Yeah, they
stop the
cancelled some of
scalpers.
the. Yeah, I think
Well,
they were
that's
able to
good.
figure out who was scalping and not
That's
cancelled
good.
everything, but got
That's
some of them
good. I
back.
mean,
Yeah.
that is what companies should be doing.
Yes.
They should have measures in place to stop fucking scalpers doing this, quite frankly. And good on Games Workshop for responding, because most companies don't bother. Let's be honest. They're just like, oh,
No.
well, we've got money, haven't we? Who gives a shit? You know, it
Well,
doesn't
usually
bother them.
Games Workshop doesn't bother most of the
No, it's
time.
true. It's
You
true. I'm
know?
glad that they have this time. I'm glad that they have.
I don't think this is gonna be, oh, well, you're guaranteed to get one because, I
No.
mean, from when we're recording today on Tuesday the 23rd, pre-order orders are gonna be up tomorrow on Wednesday, so it'll be over by the time that you hear this. It doesn't mean the scalpers can't go back in and do
No.
something. I think they have implemented something into the process, which is gonna try and subvert some of it. Which is again more than they usually do, but I can't remember
It's
exactly
more than
what
they
it
usually
is.
do.
Yeah,
And, you know, it's heartening to see that they are taking steps at long last. It needs to be done.
even if they're
Um,
minor steps, yeah, it's
yeah,
something.
it needs to be done, and not just here. It needs to be done across the board. I mean,
I feel like
you
I'm
know, it needs
Oliver.
to
Please, sir, I'd like some more.
be,
It's like, yeah, well,
yeah,
we'll see.
needs to be regulated, doesn't it? But that's
Yeah,
another argument. I am very excited for the End of the Death Part 3. I just all bets are off for me. You
sure.
haven't read Part 2, have you yet, Andy?
No, I'm up to I'm somewhere in Warhawk at the moment
Right,
because I
right.
skipped over Mortis because you told me Mortis was shit, so I skipped that one and went to
It's not.
Warhawk.
It's so weird. It's not shit. It's just there's no point to it. You
Yeah.
know, it's a decent book. It's perfectly fine. It's actually, you know, above and beyond most of the other Horus Heresy books. It's just you can
compared
just
to
skip
the
it
rest, compared to the rest of Siege of Terror,
yeah,
it's like,
you can
guys,
just skip it
yeah.
completely, and it makes 0 difference.
Yeah, and because I
So
only get like 10 minutes, 20
mhm,
minutes, I get 20 minutes per week going
yeah,
out and listening to audiobooks. Yeah,
right, right.
it's one I can skip.
It's not worth it, right?
No.
But wow, I mean, after the End of the Death Part 2, all bets are off. I since see it for a story that we all know the
Mm.
beats of, I don't know where this is going.
Yeah.
Not the first clue. Dan Abnett's he's done a bit of a blinder here. He
Yeah.
really has. He has deliberately taken a story that he's gotten and he sat down and thought, well, everybody knows this. Everybody who's a fan of 40K knows this story. So I've got to do something to make it interesting, to make it engaging, and to surprise them a little bit.
Mm.
And thus far, he's done it.
Yeah.
He's
It's a great
really
idea.
done it. I
Yeah.
don't know. I sincerely don't know what this is going to conclude.
When are
I
you getting your copy? Do you know, George? Is it one of those things where you have you pre-ordered like the paperback, or I don't know what you?
no, I haven't yet. I mean,
Okay.
I've no idea, but you know, if I can get this, if I'm around to get this tomorrow, I probably will.
It says 4 p.m. tomorrow.
Hmm. I should be around. I've got to go and do something at work, but I should be around for then.
I would still wish you
So
luck. I wish you the greatest luck because you could still get fucked over by bots.
it's true.
And we
It's
know what their
absolutely
website's like as well. It's not
yeah,
the
yeah.
smoothest, but
True. Absolutely
hopefully.
true. But if I can get it, I'll be very pleased.
Yes.
I'm very excited. I mean, I just don't know. It's one of those things.
Yeah.
I've
Who
no
knows?
idea what's going to happen. And I'm very excited to see where this ends now.
Yeah. And it might be one of those things where it ends and it opens up to a new beginning of what's coming next, Black Library
That
wise,
and
which we've
obviously
assumed is
it
the
will.
scouring, which is what you
Obviously
in
it
preface
will,
said. Yeah.
because it's kind of got to, doesn't it? We already know that there's an after.
Yeah.
But it's how it gets there and how much this is gonna shake up the status quo, the things that you assume about the 40K universe, because it's
Hmm.
already done it massively. It's already done stuff that's like, "What?" You know, it's just like, "Wow, this is not the story we know. This is not the story we've been told thus
Yeah.
far." Um, so, I mean, my guess I mean, it's I could see it ending with Erebus and Lorgar being really happy.
That'd be a nice little epilogue, like them two
All their
talking
Yeah, all
in a dark room.
plans have gone down, you know, everything has
Mm.
happened according to what they want, it seems. Certainly Erebus.
Oh
I could
yeah.
see
Well.
him being exceptionally happy about all of this because it's
Has he
everything.
grown a face back, or has he just got used to
Oh,
having no
Erebus!
face?
No, he's got a face.
Okay.
He's perfectly fine, you know, well, I mean, there's bits in these books where he ends up buried like beneath parts of the palace and whatnot, but it doesn't
Ah.
seem to bother him very much.
No, because
Just doesn't bother him.
the last thing I saw with Erebus is he was talking to the Primarch's mum. He was like, "I'll kill you," and he killed her.
Oh, yes, yes. So, I mean, let me sum it up. Thus far, Erebus has had his throat slit by a priest on Davin. He got better. He had
What was that?
Khan's
Was that
axe.
like
That
false
was
gods?
that was really early on. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it was false gods. Yeah. He had Khan's axe buried in his back, literally in his spine. Got better. Um, he's got buried beneath parts of the Imperial Palace. Got better. Yeah, the gods have got plans for Erebus. He
Yeah, they
seems
won't
to
let
be
him
quite
die.
safe, you know?
He's the cockroach. I think Gruff said that,
Yeah,
right? Didn't he? Didn't Gruff say he was
pretty
the
much.
cockroach that won't die? Yeah.
That's pretty much, yeah. That's pretty much him. And we know he's still around. He's still around in the present day 40k, so
Mm.
he survives. He survives.
He could
And
do with a new mini.
you know, the fact that they haven't introduced him as a character in 40k is criminal, because
Mm.
he's as significant, if not more so, to the background of the Chaos Space Marines as Abaddon or
Yeah, yeah.
Fabius or whatever.
But
He's at least
he's the instigator of the Horus Heresy.
yeah. So
At
he's the
least.
father of the Chaos Space Marines. He is one of the
Yeah.
first Chaos Space Marines. He falls before Lorgar does.
Yeah, yeah.
Him and Corpeyron.
Oh, what a cock.
So yeah, right.
Both of them.
Another one who's still alive, by the way.
Of course.
Um, wow. But yeah, I don't know.
Who
It's just
knows?
one of those things
Yeah.
I don't know where it's going, but I'm very, very excited to see where it does.
And the last story of the night is the Old World Almanac. You can download PDFs for the Lizardmen, Dark Elves,
Yeah.
Vampire Counts, Ogre Kingdoms, Skaven,
Mm.
Demons of Chaos, and the Chaos Dwarves. Haha, Gruff. Haha, Gruff. Haha.
Yeah. So yeah, so it's some of the legacy armies effectively, isn't it? So you can muck about with them in the old world.
This feels most like the kind of wafting the hands, like, yeah, here you go. They're not really
is
part of
like
the
that.
fiction at this part of the time,
No,
but you can
they're
kind
not.
of have some sort of rules to sort of play a game if you
Mhm.
want with your old armies.
That's
But
pretty much it.
they're not effectively here.
No,
It's like
that's essentially it. It's throwing
like
the
a
bone, isn't it?
0.1, right? It's a
Yeah,
beta.
it's exactly that. And
Yeah.
if this proves successful, maybe they will introduce them at
Yeah,
some point.
when they get to them in the quote unquote timeline of what the old world's going for. I think that's the idea, right?
I mean, like, the fact that Chaos Dwarfs are here is a surprise, isn't it? Like at all.
Yeah.
It is a surprise. But no, I mean, it's nice. It's you know, if some of the older gamers out there have got some of these old armies that have just been sitting in boxes or on shelves for decades or whatever, and it probably would be decades at this point, they can dust them off and have an old school game with them. It's kind of sweet. It's
Do you ever
kind of
wonder
cute.
what happened with that guy who made the YouTube video of him burning his Dark Elves army?
Oh,
Do you think he'd like looking at this now and going, shit?
well,
Maybe
I
I should
think
have. Maybe he's
people.
moved on. I don't know.
I would hope in my heart of hearts that people like that would move on, but I have a horrible feeling that they would have had some sort of awful aneurysm at some point, or that would be my guess.
I do. There's a little bit of cathartic enjoyment of like him seeing this and going, maybe I shouldn't have burned those models.
Maybe I shouldn't have been so dramatic about like a hobby, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Like you said, maybe he's healthy and he's moved on. Hopefully,
I hope so. That would be my
that would be
sincere hope.
best case scenario.
Best case
But also
scenario,
funny if he
yeah.
wasn't.
But yeah, yeah, kind of. But yeah, I mean, it's nice to see some of these old schools, forces back as well. I mean, that artwork from the Vampire Counts book, Jesus.
Love it.
Yeah,
It's not my
wow.
favorite bit of them, but it's still pretty good.
It's still pretty nice, isn't it? That's an old
Yeah.
aesthetic for the vampires as well. I mean, the minis were no good back then. The
Wow,
vampire minis themselves were shite.
It's because it was this weird like I don't know why. I get the feeling they were kind of like the Eldar of now is this weird mesh of like really, really, really old stuff. A lot of metal. Like the Graveguard were all metal.
Yeah, they were.
And that's like your heavy infantry. And it's like, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Come on.
It was mad, wasn't it? It was
Yeah.
mad. And of course, they just couldn't do like human scale miniatures that well back then. Like they
No.
just look silly. All the
I, s-
vampires from back then looked silly.
I still remember. Is it Vlad or is it Manfred that had the long sweeping cloak and he was either pointing or he held it? No, I think it was Manfred because I think he was holding a sickle out in his hand,
That's Manfred.
and
Yeah,
that was a pretty shitty looking
that was
Manfred.
Manfred on foot. You had him
That's right.
mounted, and then you had him on foot as well, so you could
That's right.
take him either way.
Yeah, the on foot one was pretty rough. I remember
Pretty
the
rough.
last Isabella they did wasn't too bad, at least for the era. She
No,
was all right.
she was from the latter days, wasn't she, of the Fantasy
Yeah,
Battle
I think
system?
so.
Yes, that's right, because she went. That's right. They did Vlad and her, didn't they?
Yes, and the Vlad was
Um,
okay. He could have been a
all
bit
right.
better, but he was
He looked a bit
better than his previous.
too bestial for me.
Yes.
I've always like pictured Vlad as the more like Dracula, the more
Hmm.
aristocratic vampire, the
Yeah.
gothic vampire. Which is how I would hope they'd do him if he came back ever.
Yeah, in Total War Warhammer, they took his nose away for some reason,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I don't know. I don't think vampires rot, and I don't see
Mhm.
him getting Tyrion Lannistered and having his nose
No,
chopped off. He was too
no,
good
no,
of
no,
a
no, no.
swordsman for that.
Absolutely, yeah,
He's really
absolutely.
strong.
And also, he was charming. The whole thing
Yeah,
with Vlad is that his voice was like the most persuasive thing about him. He was a politician, wasn't he? Also, he
yeah.
was sane. He wasn't like the other vampire counts. He was actually
He's
kind of
pretty good.
reasonable.
Yeah, he was a good for a vampire.
For a
Pretty good guy,
vampire,
and he cared
he
about
was
his people.
yes, he was a decent guy, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Like as the vampires in like the old world went, he was actually reasonably
I
decent.
I think you could probably say he's decent compared to the rest of the elect accounts as well.
Yeah,
Probably the elect accounts
absolutely.
not really good people, most of them.
No, you're absolutely right. The Empire
So,
was a shithole.
yeah.
Absolute shithole of oppression and yeah, it's absolutely true.
Oh, but Andy, Vlad rebelled. It's like he lived in a shithole where they couldn't grow food because it was
Yeah,
warpstone encrusted. Of course, they were a little bit
absolutely.
miffed.
Yeah. I mean, I've always liked him. I think he's always been my
Same.
favorite of the vampire counts, and I would like to see him.
Who's the one that came after him? It was
It was
Conrad.
Conrad. Conrad
Yeah,
was insane.
I didn't like
Conrad
Conrad. Conrad was just
Conrad
like crazy person. It's like,
yeah,
oh.
Conrad was like completely bonkers to the point whereby he had a special rule that was a few bats short of a belfry.
Someone enjoyed writing that. They're like, I
Clearly,
enjoyed that. Yeah.
clearly. Um, but no, bring back Vlad and Isabella. Come on,
Hmm.
bring them back for
I'd
the
love it.
present day Soul Blights. Come on.
I don't know where you put them, whether you make them Mortarks, because we still need
I
what
don't think
like
they fit as Mortarks because
I
they
don't
they are
either.
so much more independent, and I don't think
Yeah.
they like Nagash very much. I don't think they
No.
like the Soul Blights as they currently manifest. They're too noble. Vlad
Yeah.
and Isabella are too noble and
Hmm.
too self-composed.
Yeah, I'd like to see them back. But yeah. Was it we need like 5 more Mortarks to go up to the
Oh
original 9 that was hinted at
god,
years ago?
is that how many there were? I can't
Originally, I think it was hinted that there was
remember.
like 9 Mortarks in
There was
total.
Abharash. Oh god, Abharash, Neferata, Usheran, um, Vlad.
Arkan. Did you say
Arkan,
Arkan the Black?
obviously, yes, Arkan the Black. Um,
Oleander.
oh yeah, yes, Oleander, of course.
Is the dude who
Um,
leads the Ossiarch Bone Reapers, is he a Mortark? The one who
yes,
never
he is.
loses,
That's
quote
right.
unquote.
Yes,
He is,
that's
okay.
right. Catacross. That's
Catacross,
right.
that's his name, yeah.
Um,
He said
I mean,
Usharon.
who was the
So.
Lord of the Necrarch from the old world? The original Necrarch vampire.
Oh, I don't remember.
Oh God, I can't remember. Wasseron, was it? Ah,
That sounds like a silly vampire name. I'd go with that.
it was a silly name. It was a silly
Yeah.
name. Um, I can't remember what his name was. I know there was one. He was like the original Necrarch vampire that were like
Mm.
they were like Count Orlok from Nosferatu. They were
Oh, of course, yes.
corpse-like and rattish and unpleasant. But my God, that was a while back. The Necroc are kind of gone, aren't they? They're kind of like,
Yeah,
with them.
if we do get another like Mortarg, I kind of would like it to be a zombie Mortarg,
Yeah, that would be nice.
something that
No,
could
well, that would be the
lead the
Necroc.
living
That would
dead.
be the Necroc,
Oh, would
basically,
it?
because that's what they were
Okay.
like. Yeah, their whole thing was like they were so into necromantic magic and whatnot that it had rotted them on the bone. They were like
Ah,
the vampiric equivalent of zombies. They
that
were
would be fun.
ugly and unpleasant,
I can't remember which AOS book it was, but in one of them there was they had like a zombie queen.
Mm.
And I don't think they've clearly not done anything with it. I don't know if they even remember who she was. I can't remember her name, but I thought the concept was an
I like that.
interesting one.
I
Yeah.
think that's really cool. I'd go for
I'm
that.
I'm pretty sure they had really elaborate description of like a palanquin she was on, but it's been a
Right.
long time. Been a long time
I
since
love
I
that
heard
idea.
it.
In
Yeah.
fact, you know what? More zombies. More
Yeah.
zombies. I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
I'm into that. More
Like
zombies.
flesh out because you could bring like finally the zombie ogres and make them a full force rather than the two from Curse City, which were really neat and they didn't do anything with.
Yeah. Well,
You
it's a
know?
lovely idea, isn't it? Why can't you have like zombie ogres and we've got zombie dragons, obviously, but why can't you have other zombie creatures? I mean,
Mm,
it's all just matter insofar as like necromancers are concerned. It's all just animatable matter, isn't it? It doesn't
yeah.
matter where it comes from.
And you can really pervert things by having like zombie Sylvaneth trees.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great.
Rotten broken trees dripping with sap.
Yeah.
And it would also really piss off the Sylvaneth, which is
Wouldn't
a
it
good
just?
idea would
I
be
love.
fun.
That's a
Yeah.
great idea. Yeah. Woof.
Yeah.
Yeah. More of that.
All you
More
have
of
to do, look at every faction and go, what can we
that.
steal and turn
What
to a
can
dead
we
thing?
Yeah, what can we pervert and like, ew, yeah, like, oh,
Yeah.
the Ideneth, the fish things and
Yeah. Zombie
whatnot.
crabs, you know. I
Zombie
mean
crabs, yeah.
you do that and you can have just nods to the oh god, what they called? The Vampire Coast, because they have like crabs and
Yeah,
stuff, so
yeah, absolutely.
why not? I don't know.
Absolutely.
Anyway, that's it. That's all of our news, Mr. Judge.
Yeah,
We don't have anything
I
else.
think that's it. Andy, and before we go, by the way, where
Yeah.
can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, those kind of places as Decayed Andy. I'm also on the Moonbase 2 podcast where I talk about Transformers each and every Sunday in the same places where I do this kind of stuff too. What about you, George?
Excellent. Oh God, you can find me all over the bloody internet at the moment. You can find me at Exaggerated Elegy over on YouTube and also on Our Lives in Horror, new channel where I talk to creators from the horror writing community. If you go over to Arrow Films, you will find the new Hellraiser Blu-ray and UHD sets, The Quartet of Torment, and myself and my colleague Kit Power feature on the Hellbound disc, Hellraiser 2, on a featurette called Hell is What They Wanted. It's really
Oh,
cool, really good stuff. All of my published work you can find links to over at strangeplaygrounds.com, or if you go to amazon.co.uk, or you can type in George Daniel Lee and you'll find my Amazon author page that has links to all of my published work. Most recently, I was published in 2 collections, one of science fiction horror and one of kaiju horror, which is really good fun. I'm really pleased to be published in those, branching out a little bit into subgenres. It's brilliant fun. And at the moment, you can still find me over on Twitter. Not for very long, though, probably. Primarily, you can find me over on Blue Sky if you want to come and chat. And with that, I think we will say goodbye. Thank you for listening, guys.
yeah.
And we'll speak to you next time. Bye bye.
Bye.